Happy Friday. How's your week been? Today we are going to end this week on a very joyful, important, analytical, educational level. This is the AM show on Joy News, and I'm Sweetie Abochi.
And I am Samuel Kojo-Brace.
So this morning, we have a 4-hour packed show like usual, and this is what to expect. First, the AM show, top of our order. And after that, the AM Sports comes, and then news review. The news review segment comes right after. For those joining us for news review, we have Kwame Nkrumah Botiu. He's General Secretary of the CPP. We also have Professor Isaac Boedi. He's Dean, Accounting and Finance at UPSA. And of course, Andrew Apia Dankwa. He's a lawyer and spokesperson for the Movement for Change. 3 gentlemen joining us to review the newspapers and how those stories captured in there resonate with you and me. Kojo, for our big stories.
Well, for our big stories, former Vice President Dr Bawumia declares confidence, touting some 60 members of Parliament support his bid, to become the flag bearer of the party. But that faces backlash as rival competitors in the race for the NPP flag bearership say that is just, a propaganda tool. This is coming just some few days after the party's new proposal for an early flag bearer election in January 2026. Is there a looming party crisis or routine challenge as we've seen in the past? We hear from our guest. Join us with your thought via phone and on all our social media platforms.
The AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable costs with flexible payment option. Don't forget, today is Friday, so expect Noella Karen Yale to serve you e-corner at the tail end of the show. Welcome aboard. First on our order, the AM News coming up now. This is the AM News on the Joy News channel. Details now. The Coalition Against Illegal Mining is calling for a full-scale probe into an attack on Minerals Commission Administrator Dr Hannah Bisiu and her team. The incident happened on June the 5th during an operation at Bui Sobinso in the Akumfri community. Shockingly, the team was reportedly blocked and threatened by the district police officers, including the commander. Let's get the report now.
The Coalition Against Illegal Mining has reignited pressure on the government over its handling of illegal mining, renewing calls for investigations and prosecutions. Addressing the media, the coalition's convener, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, demanded the immediate interdiction of the district police commander and his officers for allegedly aiding in the attack on Dr. Hannah Bisiu during a Minerals Commission's operation in the Akumfri community in the Achumampunwa district.
Anything could have happened to Dr. Hannah Bisiu, the journalists who were there that day. And to think, as to quote her, that machination was perpetuated by the police command. We asked that police commander be interdicted and investigated and punished. And when these punishments are done, the police should not just hide them under their police. They should let everybody know so that the police would know that if they do wrong, they also would be punished.
With legislative instruments 2462 maturing into law today, June 19th, the coalition is also demanding that President Mahama calls on his party's majority in parliament to take urgent steps towards its implementation in line with his promise to repeal the entire LI.
We will not accept an amendment that responds to the interests of certain individuals, not taking into account the interests of the nation. The LI 2462 must be revoked, and it's with urgency. If the president does not act, the Environmental Protection into bracket Minerals in Forest Reserve, Mining in Forest Reserves Amendment Regulation 2025 will mature and come into effect today. As a people, our only recourse will be to continue our court case. This will be unfortunate at a time when Ghanaians expect a true reset in governance. The executive must not sit aloof while citizens are left to their fate to fight for the future of the very country we entrusted into the hands of His Excellency the President. So our resolve to the President is that it is true that today the 21 days would crystallize. But His Excellency, with the majority that he has in Parliament, would still be able to cause the two-thirds majority to cause a revocation of that particular ally.
While acknowledging some progress in the government's efforts to combat illegal mining, the group expressed strong dissatisfaction over the handling of cases involving party executives allegedly complicit in their activity, including Onwin MP Oskalabi and 2 NDC constituency chairmen. Dr. Ashbe insisted President Mahama must immediately initiate investigations into these individuals.
We have, however, observed and condemned resoundingly the alarming pattern of some officials from the ruling NDC being involved in illegal mining. After the unresolved case of Honorable Oskalabi, MP for our win, we have a petition with His Excellency the President that he has acknowledged receipt of. New reports implicate the NDC constituency chairpersons in Axim and Dunkwao of being deeply involved in Galamsey operations. This hypocrisy is unacceptable. While the NDC leadership under His Excellency the President publicly condemned illegal mining, the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and IGP have demonstrated positive actions to deal with the scourge of Galamsey. However, some of their local officials allegedly profit from it. We demand, 1, that immediate investigations into the case of Honorable Oskalabi, MP for our win, and the chiefs that have accused him that he has counter-accused. And these 2 chairpersons of Axim, constituency chairpersons of Axim and Dunkwao, by the police and national security, ensuring complete transparency and no room for political protection. 2, public disciplinary action by the NDC if any of these allegations are proven.
The coalition is further demanding the prosecution of all political figures named in the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report for their roles in the illegal mining menace. Reporting for Joy News, Collins Frimpong.
In other stories, the Electoral Commission is pushing back against accusations of negligence and financial loss over the reprinting of leaked ballot papers ahead of the 2024 elections. Just 6 days to the polls, the EC confirmed a ballot paper leak and swiftly recalled materials from the eastern and western regions. It then re-awarded the printing contract to Backpress and Inolink. Appearing before Parliament, Deputy Commissioner Dr Bawumia revealed that the reprint cost over 6 million Ghana cedis. Now, James Saveji was there and reports.
Deputy Commissioner for the Electoral Commission, Dr Bawumia, appeared before Parliament to answer questions on 2 key things. One was some procurement issues on the eve of the elections as well as after the December 2024 elections. And 2, on how far the EC has gone in the compilation of the Ablikma North constituency election results. Even before Dr Bawumia could take his seat, the MP, in whose name the question is, Roxanne Nelson Dapamakpo, objected to the Deputy EC appearing before the House to give answers in place of the substantive EC boss.
Mr. Speaker, so the heads are the heads. And the head of an independent constitutional body is quite the head. The deputies are not permissible under this provision. Mr. Speaker, I believe that we can make progress.
After the back and forth over the propriety of this, the Speaker ruled that the House constitutes itself into a committee of a whole to allow him to provide answers. On the issue of contract awarded for the reprinting of leaked presidential and parliamentary ballot papers for both eastern and western regions, just 6 days to the elections, the EC Deputy Commissioner reveals that over 6 million Ghana cedis was spent on that, insisting that there's not been any procurement breaches in the award of that contract.
2024 general elections, presidential, the cost, 3,621,000 281 cedis and 30 pesos. The date of award of the contract, 24th December 2024. And this was for the 7th December elections, the reprinting of ballots for the eastern and western regions. The next one, 2024 general elections, parliamentary, the cost 2,442,329 cedis and 59 pesos. The date of award, 24th December 2024. For the 7th December 2024 general the parliamentary elections, for reprinting of ballots for the eastern and western regions. There was no breach of the procurement law. There was no breach. The commission wrote to the CTRC on 2nd December, and the elections were supposed to take place on 7th December. In the response by the CTRC, they indicated that we wrote to them on the 2nd of December. And before we printed the ballots, we wrote to the CTRC. So CTRC knew all the printing houses and the specific regions they were printing. So we didn't go to PPA. So it was only appropriate that when we had to withdraw ballots for the eastern and central regions, we had to go back to the same organization that permitted us to engage these printing houses. So as far as we are concerned, there was no breach of the procurement law.
On the Ablekuma North constituency coalition, which has stalled for over 6 months now, the last time the EC met the Election Security Task Force, the IGP COP Tete indicated that the police are ready, only waiting for the EC to provide them with a roadmap to finish the coalition process. But Dr. Bosman has indicated to Parliament that they are still waiting on the police to give them the go-ahead.
We haven't escalated it beyond the police, because in my response I indicated the police said they were getting advice. So we are waiting for them to write to us based on the advice for us to proceed. So we haven't done any escalation.
Parliament has therefore requested details of the procurement document in the award of those contracts. From Parliament House here in Accra, my name is James Savaji for Joy News.
In a bold political move, some NPP members of parliament have thrown their weight behind the party's 2024 flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia. In a closed-door meeting at his campaign office, the MPs pledged support for his potential bid to lead the party again in the 2028 elections. The meeting comes just days after the NPP set January 2026 as the next date to elect its next flag bearer. Dr. Bawumia revealed that more than 60 of the party's 88 MPs have already backed him, insisting, quote, the MPs control the constituencies, unquote. More in this report.
Dozens of NPP MPs thronged the campaign office of the party's 2024 flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, to show their support for him. They held a closed-door meeting which lasted for about an hour. Now, after the meeting, the former vice president told us that he was happy with what was discussed.
I've had a visit from our members of parliament. I think that it was a very happy visit. It was a courtesy call, and it's a call to declare support for me. And I am so happy in terms of the group that have declared support for me from Parliament.
Some members of Parliament who were here also shared with us that they are confident that Dr. Bawumia is the right person to lead the party to victory in the 2028 elections.
Going to be a big advantage if MPP presents Dr. Bawumia, who has appeared on the ballot before, who has been our candidate in 2024, and that would be the obvious choice for Ghana.
Dr. Bawumia's team and his camp are ready to battle any aspirant, whether it is in January, whether it is in June, whether it is, in fact, if they want, even tomorrow.
Several party supporters came to this premises, that is the campaign office of Dr. Bawumia, including former Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu and other bigwigs of the party, all in unison saying that Dr. Bawumia is the right person to lead the party to victory come 2028. From the Bawumia campaign office in Accra. My name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
In other news, a 15-year-old girl is inspiring many with her resilience, sitting for her basic education certificate exam just hours after giving birth. She went into labor during her ICT paper, delivered her baby, and returned to finish the rest of her paper. Irabna Akwe reports.
The incident occurred at the Asenua Presby School here in the Ashanti region. Eyewitnesses say the girl complained of cramps after using the washroom and was assisted by a policewoman on duty and some community women. I realized she was in labor, so I rushed there. I was right, the baby's head was out. We helped her deliver and we decided to take her to the hospital afterwards.
It all happened right here, not in the hospital ward, but this office, that she brought her baby into the world.
The head pastor of the Asenua Presby Church, Reverend Kennedy Opoku, intervened and drove the girl to the hospital after delivering the baby, where they helped her cut the umbilical cord.
I thought it expedient to send her to the hospital instead of letting those who are around to come to her aid. At the time we got there, they just helped her to let the placenta come out because he had already given birth.
Mother of the teenage mother, Cecilia Adumankuma, who accompanied her daughter back to the exam center, recounted the moment she was informed. When they called to inform me she had delivered, I didn't know what to do. I knew she wasn't due, but I gave thanks to God. I went there to take care of her in the hospital. Doctors and nurses asked her if she could continue her exam. She said yes, she will come back and write. Against all odds, the teenager returned to write her exams for the rest of the week.
I didn't want my life to end. I want to continue my education.
Interesting. So why did you decide to come and write the exam again, even after just giving birth?
I want my child to know I didn't stop dreaming because I became a mother.
It has captured hearts and inspired many. A reminder that even in pain and uncertainty, hope can still be written, one paper at a time. For Joy News, Irabna Akwe, Kumase.
Ghana's collaboration with South Korea has received a major boost with the commencement of construction of the Ghana-Korea Center of Excellence for ICT-based startups and Asian research at the University of Ghana. The project is being undertaken by the Korea International Cooperation Agency, that is KOICA. Now, the facility is expected to drive youth innovation, job creation, and academic research in technology and international development. Nana Amma Akono has more in this report.
Youth unemployment and limited access to cutting-edge technological resources continue to stall innovative breakthroughs across the country. However, the construction of the Ghana-Korea Center for Excellence for IT-based startups and Asia research by KOICA could help change that, thanks to the strategic partnership between Ghana and the Republic of Korea. Speaking to Joy News, the Korean ambassador to Ghana said his country hopes to provide young people with space, tool and mentorship to build visible tech businesses.
Actually, I'm really happy to join this groundbreaking ceremony today. My government is building this GK Impact Center as a token of friendship between Korea and Ghana, government by government and people to people. So actually this GK Impact Center has two pillars. One is ICT Center, second one is Asian Studies. I mentioned the ICT is the backbone of the development of the economy in these days. So now Ghana has a big infrastructure, but I realize that we need some more cutting-edge facilities and teaching skills about ICT. So through this ICT center, maybe many young Ghanaian people can experience and learn about the ICT.
The Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Gordon Awandari also expressed gratitude to KOICA for funding the initiative. It said the center will provide a transformative environment not only for the University Center for Asia Studies, but also for Ghanaian youth as a whole.
This project is going to impact on the university's mission to deliver high-quality training and research in a number of ways. First is that it is going to provide a physical presence to our Center for Asian Studies, which has had to, squat in various buildings for this period. So now it gives it, a physical presence, and give opportunities to students to train.
As Ghana works to build a digital economy and create sustainable jobs for its youth, this center stands as a model for what could be achieved when countries invest in people rather than promises. Nanama Akono's report read to you.
The newly enskinned divisional Queen Mother of Karni, Pogna Veronica Sangwe-Barry I, has made a passionate appeal to women in the Lambwisi district of the Upper West region to unite in support of their men in order to drive meaningful development in their community. Emphasizing the vulnerability of women and the community as a whole, she urged them to form strong groups and networks as strategic steps towards attracting support and resources for development initiatives. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Karni.
Pogna Veronica Sangwe-Barry I, also known in her private life as Veronica Sangwe, is a retired educationist. The 68-year-old mother of four was enskinned as a divisional Queen Mother of Karni in the Lambwisi district. The colorful ceremony was attended by people from all walks of life, including paramount, divisional and sub-chiefs, where the rich traditional culture of the people was in display. Additionally, 13 sub-divisional Queen Mothers and 1 sub-chief in the Karni catchment area were also enskinned to support the newly enskinned divisional Queen Mother in promoting development of the area. Pogna Veronica Sangwe-Barry I, after the enskinment, shared a plan for the community with Joy News.
My plans for this community is to bring togetherness to the women, and we support our men for development, especially in our work. We are vulnerable here. We need support. And to do so, we have to come together as women, form groups that can help us to bring peace and success.
The chief of Karni, Na Edward Kansonoro Kala I, who was enskinned last year, called on the government and non-governmental organizations to come to their aid to rehabilitate their dam, which he says is at the edge of breaking down.
But we have so many challenges in Karni, so I hope with this number of Queen Mothers supporting their chiefs, we shall succeed as a community. If anybody has Karni at heart, we wish that they should support us to construct, to reconstruct or rehabilitate our dam that is breaking down. Our dam gives water to so many communities in the Grappa district and even Lambwisi district, animals to drink.
Also present at the function was the paramount chief of the Jiruba traditional area, Nadina Donlobongana III.
It is gratifying to see that our cherished customs are not fading away, but rather are being reinterpreted and renewed through the younger generations. To the newly enskinned sub-chief and divisional Queen Mother and sub-Queen Mothers, leadership is not in the title, but in the service.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Karni.
Let's get into a business update now. For our first, but first, let's start with the currency market. So let's get into the news proper. The cedi has begun recovering some of the losses it recorded against the dollar last week on both the interbank and forex markets. This comes after the Bank of Ghana increased its dollar supply to the markets in recent days. We'll tell you more details in this report.
Earlier this week, the dollar was going for about 10 Ghana cedis, 70 pesos, when it comes to the rate that most of the commercial banks were offering to their clients when it comes to transactions. However, it has made some marginal gains and is currently selling at around 10 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. On the Forex Bureau market, it went up by as much as 13 Ghana cedis to a dollar. However, over the past 2 working days, it has made some strong recovery and is going for 12 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. Some of the commercial banks have told Joy Business that the pressure last week was fueled by the sudden spike in dollar demand by businesses due to the recent claims by President John Mahama that the true value of the Ghana cedi could be around 10 to 12 Ghana cedis. Therefore, most of them were trying to buy more dollars now against future depreciation of the Ghana cedi. Also, some offshore investors were redeeming their investment, resulting in that depreciation for last week. But for many, the critical question here is that can we just depend purely on market forces for the cedi's stability against the dollar? Or the Bank of Ghana may always have to step in with dollar support to try and normalize things.
Moving on, Africa World Airlines has announced that it will commence scheduled flights to Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, from 1st July 2025. Now, this was captured in notice released on the airline's social media platform, and we'll tell you all the details in this report.
Africa World in the notice revealed that the move is part of measures aimed at providing reliable air travel and also make it the preferred carrier in the West African sub-region. Africa World currently flies Lagos and Abuja in Nigeria, Monrovia in Liberia, as well as Freetown in Sierra Leone. From July 1, the number of countries that it serves in the West African sub-region will increase to 4. The airline has also announced that it is working to expand its operations to Côte d'Ivoire soon, with the dream of connecting Africa with the rest of the world. Some industry analysts have argued that connecting flights within the West African sub-region is very expensive and difficult. Therefore, the cedi's new services from Africa World has helping to deal with the challenge.
Let's wrap up business updates with a commodity market. So that does it for the AM News and the Business Update segment. Coming up next, we'll bring you sports. So in our sports segment today, Joy Sports' Lawrence Baidu brings you an exclusive interview with Black Stars midfielder Lawrence Ajekum. Enjoy.
Bonsuba has spoken with Joy
Sports. So good.
Now you must party bring to the team. As a youngster, I mean, which people in that category, I mean the senior players, were welcoming, were open, were present with open arms to receive you?
Oh, Jordan welcomed me well. Party also welcomed me well. Kudus also. And Gideon Mensah, you know, he was my senior also at Wafa. But I didn't meet him when I went there. Yeah, so they all really welcomed me well.
They talk about Jordan and the fact that he doesn't smile too many times when he's out there, always on the playing field. What can you say about that?
When you're
what
on
kind
the
of,
field,
what kind of person is Jordan are you?
He's a calm guy. He's a calm guy. He's a cool guy. He's friendly. He's jovial. Yeah, and he's a good leader also. He encourages his players, his team. Yeah, he's really a good captain.
That match against Chad, I think Ghana were 4 goals or 5 goals up before you came in. You came in for a big player, replacing Thomas Partey in that game. Looking at the crowd presence, looking at the fact that you had your family present, how was the moment like?
You know, Thomas Partey also was from Ashama. So for me, substituting Ashama for an Ashama coming in, but maybe, okay, it's baton, giving me the stick.
Last 15 of the game, I should put the weren't moments or long period that you to express yourself. But what did you feel wearing the putting on the jersey of thousands of crowds and then having touches?
Oh, it's a dream true. Yeah. You know, a young player to play national team, no matter what, whether you level, whether level, as long as you wear a jersey, it's really a dream come true. And then moments I felt okay, one of my have been accomplished. So I was really happy with that.
Ghana played at 3 days time with Madagascar. People looking forward to faces. It was important, but people were still looking for fresh faces coming into the team. For you, how did you feel when you didn't get any minutes in that game against Madagascar? Did you feel it was because of a performance you had given in Accra?
No, for me, I didn't think about that, about my performance, because in training I give my 100%. During the game I also give my 100%. So I think whatever decision was made, it was based on the coach's decision. Yeah.
Then you went to club side till end of the season. You played in the relegation playoff. I mean, it was tough for you, wasn't it?
It was very tough.
How were you able to deal with it?
There's nothing much you can do. You just have to keep going every day. You wake up the next day and then you set a new goal, you set a new target, and then you stick to it.
I remember in that till end as well, you were nominated for the club's Player of the Month, which you eventually won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At that point in your Circle Brugge career, what did it mean for you?
That moment, it's like my development. I was really on my peak. You know, after the national team call-up, it gave me a boost in my play, and also it increased my confidence level. So I took that boost from the national team into the club team, and then yeah, it's paid off.
Overall, what would you be? What would your assessment of first team club? How would you rate it? Sorry, at you rate your season?
I did some goals, but I accomplished some. Let's say 7 out of 10.
What 7?
Because targets.
What were some of the targets?
I was looking forward to achieving goal contribution. Yeah. I think that was the only.
That was the only one. I mean, not pretty bad. I would say if that's anything you mess up, like an 8, what do you think?
A 7 is okay.
7 is okay. Fast forward to end of the season, national team assignments, Unity Cup. I mean, the brouhaha about whatever we are going to play in London, because there were some key players missing in that team. Did you feel it was a test of your national team career? It was a case of go make a statement, or you miss out on subsequent call-ups? Was it for you that way?
No, it wasn't for me that way. You know, it was also an opportunity for me to show what I can bring to the team. You know, there are a lot of players, Ghanaian players abroad. So if you've gotten the opportunity to be called in the national team, I think you don't have to take it for granted.
I remember, I think 2 days or a day to Ghana's game, Fabrizio puts out a tweet and says, hey, Feyenoord are going to be watching you, Strasbourg are going to be watching you, and a whole lot of Premier League clubs. Did it affect your preparation for the game?
It didn't really affect my preparation.
But you accept that it did? Some bit?
It gave me a boost, a confidence level, yeah. Because I knew there were scouts that have been watching me since, and also Feyenoord also was one of them, and other clubs also. So when I saw the tweet, I wasn't really shocked about it.
Oh, so you pay attention to social media that much, huh?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, let me bring in this. So playing against Nigeria is not an opportunity that many get to enjoy. How does it feel for you? I mean, in that case, knowing that you're going to play your West African giants or rivals, especially with the Jollof tag on it.
Yeah, before the game, I spoke with my mom. You know, she's a Nigerian, and then I told her that, okay, whatever thing that was going to happen, if I score, she shouldn't have any problem with me.
And what was mommy's response for that?
Oh, she supported me since I'm playing for the Black Stars.
So okay, so in that case, it was her son over.
Yeah.
Okay. Then to the game, I mean, we missed out on a place in the final, but then we had the opportunity to redeem ourselves with the third place playoff game against Trinidad and Tobago. Some minutes into the game, Ghana were 2 goals up. Jordan was key in those moments. But then one key moment for you was the fact that you came on to score your debut goal. Run me through. How did it all happen?
Before the call-up, you know, I dreamt that I scored my first goal.
Is it that of Joseph or, I mean...
Joseph.
This is Lawrence. So, yeah, take me through.
I dreamt that I scored my first goal. It was even against Nigeria. So me being on the bench, I was really looking forward to coming in so that that dream can be fulfilled. So when I didn't get that opportunity, okay, I was a little bit worried, but we still have the next chance. So in the game, the next game, I was also looking forward to score. I tried maybe some shots, but it was blocked by the keeper. And I wanted to score in that game. And me getting my first goal, I think if you are destined to do something, or if something is destined to happen, it's going to happen. So me scoring that goal, I wasn't really surprised that I scored, because I knew that I'll have to score my debut.
It was a bit awkward to see you run into that position, because we want to see you in the middle of the pack. Do you remember what led to that, and do you remember who assisted your first national team goal?
Of course, Gideon first.
So what prompted that run?
Yeah, you know, when you see the defense line, if they're a little bit higher, and then you know that there's space in behind, yeah, you just have to run into the space and then you get the ball. And for me, that goal, I was giving it to Jordan. I was crossing to Jordan because I saw him there. And then I don't know, the keeper was rushing, so he came out and then it passed through his legs.
Look, Lawrence, every player when he or she scores the first goal is always looking for momentum. After scoring your first goal, what is your next target for the Black Stars? That is, if you are going to continue to be in the team, what are the targets you set for yourself as far as national team is concerned?
Now I just want to keep focus on my development, to be consistent in my club level. You know, because if you don't play well in your club level, it's going to be difficult for you to get a national team call-up. So I just want to be consistent in my club level, and then, God willing, when I get a call-up, I still give my 100% on the pitch, on and off the pitch. The way I play in my club level, that's the same way I'm going to play in my national team level.
In the Ghanaian space, what has been dominating is the fact that we could have a new phase of players in the Black Stars, because these young crop of players are taking over. Mention the likes of yourself, Ponsuba, Caleb Jinchi, Abu Francis, Husseini. What do you have to say about the kind of talent that Ghana is churning out in the next few years?
I think we are creating a stronger team. You know, a lot of young players rising, and then the old players also. And I think the team can be a mixture of old and young players. So the young players can look up to the old players, for their experience and also advice and how we can control the team when they are not around.
People talk about World Cup qualification like it's the big deal, you know, and playing at the World Cup is massive. For you as a player, what is your assertion or what is your objective about this topic?
Everybody wants to play in the World Cup, so do I. So hopefully I can make it to the World Cup.
There are 4 more games to go until the World Cup qualification ends. I mean, Ghana is quite in a good position on top of Group I think Comoros second. 4 more games. What should we expect from Ghana? What should we expect from the Black Stars? What should we expect from Lawrence?
With the support of the fans, we need the fans behind the team because we can't do it without the fans. And we, the Black Stars team, we give the best we can to make sure we qualify to the World Cup and then to put smiles on the faces of Ghanaians. And for me, the way I can help to make sure that we qualify, I'm going to make sure that we do qualify.
Lawrence, you are part of the team now, you know. How does it feel for you knowing that we are not going to be at the next Africa Cup of Nations?
We not being at the next African Cup of Nations doesn't mean we are a failure, you know. We can also, there's World Cup ahead, so we just have to focus on the World Cup and then leave what's behind.
In the team, do you think you are so focused on, is it a topic that everyone talks about qualifying for the World Cup?
I think that's the tournament ahead, so it's more on the World Cup. We have to make it to the World Cup. We have to qualify to the World Cup.
To wrap it up, Lawrence, tell me about Ghana's coach, technical staff that you've gone to meet. How are they like? How are they helping the players grow?
You know, when I went there, they welcomed me well, first of all. And then they told me if I need anything, I shouldn't hesitate to talk to them. Maybe on the page, if I need an advice, anything, any support, I should reach out to them. So I think putting that mentality in the player, especially a young player or someone that is new to the team, you know, he gives the player a good support. Like he knows that, okay, he has a good foundation, that they are behind him, that they can support him, even in good times, in bad times. He knows that they have his back. You know, some coaches, it's hard for you as a player to even reach out to them because you know that, okay, if I tell him there's nothing that he can do, maybe he'll put it in himself and then he feels hatred to you as a player. So for me, the technical staff, they are really, really good and they really, really helped me a lot. Yeah.
All right, Lawrence, it's been a conversation that's, I mean, I didn't see this coming. It's been a lengthy conversation. I like it. I like the fact that you've opened up. But then this is all that time will allow us to give. Hopefully we catch up with you when you go back to your club or when you come back home. Yeah. So this has been another edition of Joy Sports Conversation with your favorite players. This time, as I mentioned, we had with you Lawrence Ajekum, who plays for Seko Buga. It's been a good conversation, but this is where time will allow us to wrap it up. My name is Lawrence Beidu, and I'll leave you with a bye.
Well, let's do the newspaper review now on the AM show. Remember that the AM show is sponsored by Whaley Properties. Are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Then Whaley Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Whaley Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit here in the capital, Accra. Invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at affordable cost and also with a flexible payment option. At Waylead Properties, we provide you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Give us a call on 0240 111119 or 0504 499999. You can visit us also on waylead.org. All right, but remember that we have the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair coming up, where you can have all the answers to your building needs. So make it part of your plans to be there. Well, let's start the news review, and joining me in studio now, it will be an all-male affair today. I have Kwame Nkrumah Boatio, General Secretary of the CPP. He's here. Good morning. I hope you're well.
I love your shirt.
I
hope I will be able to concentrate with all these wonderful colors.
Well, I have to give it up for my tailor.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, but also to the Joy News. There's a lady who's in charge of the way we look on TV. Okay. She gave me this, so yeah.
Wow.
I hope that is well.
Yes, yes.
Good, great. I also have Andrew Apia Dankwa. He's a lawyer and spokesperson for Movement for Change, Afrofronto. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
I hope all is well.
I'm doing great also.
How's Alan doing?
Great.
Okay. And let's welcome Professor Isaac Body. He's Dean Accounting and Finance, UPSA. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope all is well.
Very well. And good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir. Well, I have, we all have papers in front of us. Kwame, what do you have?
I have the Ghanaian Times.
Okay. Dankwa, what do you have?
I have the Daily Analyst.
Daily Analyst. And Prof?
The Ghanaian Publisher.
You have the Publisher. I have the Custodian and the Daily Graphic. Maybe we take what is on our front pages, then we can go into the papers. Kwame, let's start.
So we have Inferno in Tema.
Okay.
We also have producer inflation eases to 10.2% in May. Government committed to enhancing SHS infrastructure, Dr. Apak. Vetting of Supreme Court nominee by Parliament postponed indefinitely.
And that's Ghanaian Times.
Ghanaian Times.
Oh, the Supreme Court nominee.
Yes.
His own has been postponed indefinitely.
Yes.
Anyway.
But then there's been a resolution. I heard on air this morning
that
he's going to be vetted
today.
Today? Yes.
Oh, so what's the resolution?
The petition by the petitioner against him has been dismissed.
Okay.
And I think rightfully so.
Okay.
My colleague, legal practitioner, will say that His Lordship Justice Akabuafo is a wonderful judge, and I'm glad the petition has been dismissed. We look forward to seeing him in the Supreme Court.
Right. Dankwa.
So from the Daily Analyst, I think the headline is Galamsey fight. Government must be decisive. JCAC demands. Then you have NSA staff union hails suspension of central management system. Other youth voice outreach over lavish trade by traditional leaders. Government to review decentralized SHS supply, food supply. DJA elections. June 4 gets massive support in the country. Over 60 NPP MPs publicly endorsed.
Okay. All right, Prof.
Yeah, I have,
the Ghanaian Publisher.
The Ghanaian Publisher. The first story here on the page 2. Mohammed Galamsey work a facade says Ghana Academy of Professional in Forum also. There's another story also in page 3. Early knockout. NPP MPs back Bawumia. I'm sure it's the same story.
Yeah.
Then there's another story here, and that's also captured in page 2. Detect queries Efutu NDC PC over Dr. Title. And then in page 3, we have the Ablikmanov rerun last option.
Okay. Wow. I have the Custodian. On the front page, investigate NDC campaigns in Galamsey. Coalition tells government. Tano North NDC officers fight over school feeding contract. Bawumia is our man for 2028. Over 60 NPP MPs declare. Horticulture, key to Ghana's inclusive growth. Fidelity Bank MD. And EC blames AG for stalled Ablikmanov coalition. Daily Graphic, end fake titles, certificate saga. Electoral advocate, law bagged national database of professional titles. First National Bank receives $35 million capital injection. No academic fee policy. 129,000 freshers apply for grants. And Sunyani Traditional Council suspends Queen Mother over installation of chief. Okay, but let's start it off this way. I'll give you 2 minutes for you to tell us what's on your mind. Yeah, Kwame, you go first.
The inferno at Tema. We all know that Tema is one of the planned cities which was very dear to Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and was constructed by the CPP. And this inferno brings to mind a quotation by the Osajifo. He said, it is not Africa that is poor. It is Africans who have been impoverished by centuries of exploitation and domination. And I think to myself, how can our fellow citizens, as we sit here at this nice place, I mean, we go about in our houses and, I mean, we live, okay, we have our fellow citizens living in 400 wooden structures. Somebody will complain, the law must work and all that. But I heard of the cause of the fire this morning. Apparently, somebody is celebrating her birthday. A lady is celebrating her birthday today and was cooking yesterday. And it looks like the fire went out of control. You see, even in the midst of such squalor, people are going about with their lives. But we can't sit there unconcerned. And when we look at domination and exploitation, of course, we have the neo-colonialist tendencies, but we also have to look within. We have this Galamsey site that has been discovered that is protected by people who are alleged to be national security operatives. It's unconfirmed, but this is a form of exploitation. When we think of exploitation, we think of the foreigners, but we exploit each other, and that is what is on our mind. Let us love our fellow Ghanaian as we should be loving them. I hope this is the last time we'll hear of any Ghanaian living in a wooden structure. I hope this is the last time. Because you go abroad, there are homeless people, but more often than not, it's because of maybe drug addiction or another issue. And even they have options. They have soup kitchens. They have access to certain facilities. In Ghana, we have, I mean, wonderful soup kitchens by Father Campbell at the Christ the King Hall. We have such instances, but we have to up our game. We shouldn't be seeing this. These are not animals.
The curiosities are large.
They are large.
If you go to Sleeping Text, I think behind, I've forgotten the name of the hotel, but there's a kiosk city at that end. Around Lashby, there are kiosk cities dotted all around the area. So there are a lot.
Everywhere.
But what can we do when the state does not have that sort of, quote, affordable housing that these people can what can we do?
We will get there. You know, Osajifo knew the problem. He didn't say just exploitation and domination. He said centuries of exploitation and domination. You don't undo 400 years of slavery, 400, I mean, centuries of colonization and the continent being ripped apart in just a day. It takes a while, but it takes a conscious effort, fully focused, 24/7 in all our actions. If it is taxes that we have to pay, we have to pay those taxes. If it is paying our employees well, we have to do that. It is not just the government policies, but we, the citizens also, we need to go the full haul to make sure that no Ghanaian lives in a wooden structure from this day. Every Ghanaian should live in the Tema that the Osajifo dreamed of, a planned city. But now we don't have planned cities. Even some of our residential areas, even some of the estates, I mean, built on waterways. When it rains, we have floods. Let's go back to the blueprint for this country.
Okay, I'm grateful to you. Dangwa.
Yeah, so let me wish you a lovely viewers. Wish my colleagues here a very good morning. In the light of the spirit of exploitation, my thought this morning is on evil is doing to the country. I think if there's something that, in my view, is clear, over the past few years.
Lord Dangwa, can you speak up a bit for me? So
over the past few years, it's not the new colonialists. Neither is it the foreigners who are exploiting Ghana. But we, the Ghanaians ourselves, led by the politicians. And neighbored sadly by the various presidents, are the ones exploiting. Recent Swiss aid report claims that for the last 5 years, Ghana has lost about $11.5 billion due to smuggling of gold. Now, this is really sad when you place into context the fact that we went to the IMF for $3 billion. The issues plaguing our energy sector is about $3.4 billion. We are talking about a situation where we don't have social housing, we don't have affordable housing. We are talking about issues where we do not have as in health care systems that will make the life of a common Ghanaian a bit livable. You talk about issues in fundamental issues in our infrastructure of this country, all the problems that we are plagued with. To think that because of the fact that our politicians, especially the president, when I say the president, if he's over the past 5 years, like Ronaldo, understand, in spite of the trust that the Constitution created on him, will sleep on his job and cause the property of Ghana to be stolen, up to the tune of $11.5 billion. Yeah, you understand? Beyond this evil that they sat down and allowed to befall this country. Also, the Galamsey issue is one of the biggest existential threats to us as a people because of its impact on the environment. You understand? The fact that in purifying the gold, you need to use cyanide, you need to use mercury, you need to use all these chemicals that are known to cause changes in the DNA, the impact on the environment, the impact on the ecology. Yeah, you understand? So we need to be up and doing. And I side with my brother's call, because if there's any call, then that call should be a call for patriotism. That we should create a system where our focus should be on what is in the best interest of the country. And this call is not just to leadership, but also to the ordinary Ghanaian. Because at the end of the day, we make the first decision in every governance cycle. And it is necessary that when we are making those decisions, our sole consideration is not on partisan consideration. The only consideration ought to be what is in the best interest of the country. Because the way things are going, not only are we destroying this environment, as in we are privileged to be in the best part of the world. Not only are we destroying this environment, but because of our disregard for the country, when we are making decisions, we've created a situation where over 5 years, people have stolen just a small bit of the property of Ghana, that's good, to the tune of 11.5 billion.
Is it based on taxes they didn't pay on it, or really?
No. So is, you see, the point is, there's so much we get from the gold, as in terms of royalties, in terms of, so that if it was if the gold was done properly and sold through the right channels,
yes, we would have gotten
11.5. But beyond that, because that 11.5 million is just what's called a percentage of. But just imagine the liquid that would have flown into the country, that would have dealt with the creation of, as in job creation issues, creating the environment where there will be real prosperity in the country. And that's why we cannot afford to sleep and allow the natural resources, which ought to be the basis for our economic prosperity, to be stolen.
Okay.
Yeah, understand. So all of us need to be up and doing. We understand that the president is the trustee, but in that cycle, in that governance cycle, the first decision is a decision taken by the ordinary people of this country. And just to add, beyond taking that decision, also we ought to create that political culture where we, the ordinary people of this country, will continue to hold the leadership accountable. And unless we do that, unless we participate in this democratic effort, then we'll create a country, we'll create a system where our doors are held ajar, where people will steal the natural resources, which ought to be the basis for our economic emancipation. Thank you.
Checking smuggling of gold. Yes, Prof.
Yeah, good morning and good morning to your viewers once again. What is on my mind? A lot of things. But I'm sure as a country, you wake up, you have a lot of things on your mind. But one of the things that we can discuss is on the Fitch B- upgrade. And then comment afterwards. In fact, if you read the report, we have now been upgraded to B-.
Yeah.
And it's a good story to be told. And they specified or indicated the reasons for the change in our position, mainly the debt restructuring benefits and then IMF program implementations, some improvement in the physical metrics that we have been told. When the news broke out, we've seen NDC taking the credit, NPP also trying to take the credit. It's fine, but the point is that the report marks deeper crisis as well, and people have not seen that. They stated in the report that we should expect 26% interest to income ratio. That will be broadly stable from 2025, 2026, and I'm sure beyond. Why should we be worried about this? People have not taken notice of that statement. What is the income to revenue ratio? It tells you the proportion of the revenue of this government and how much should go in servicing our debts, the interest on our debts, on the loans that we borrow. Across the globe, the better measurement should be between 10 to 15. And across, just our nose here, other countries very close to us, they are servicing with about 13% to 15%. But we are doing about 26%. What it means that if we generate a revenue as a country of 100 cedis, 26 should be spent on servicing just our interest on the debt, on the amount that we have borrowed. What it means that we limit that space to create, to develop. One, infrastructure will be lacking, health issues will be lacking, a lot of issues will come out of this.
That is not due to what we've done to ourselves in the past.
Yes.
That has landed us here.
So for me, it's not about the credit. It is about interpreting the numbers and find out what must we do where we find ourselves. If we're spending 26% in servicing interest as a country, it's a worrying situation. And I'm sure our administrators must take this into consideration and not be happy walking on the street that we have. Because of exchange rates is going down. There are some fundamental structural policies that must pursue. What must we do as a country? And if you look at the ratio, it's a matter of controlling your interest that you pay. You reduce your interest on the payment, and then you increase your revenue stream. That's a better way of managing this. And other thing will be in terms of improving our spending efficiency. If you don't do that, you keep spending anyhow, we'll also come back to the same situation. It used to be about 25% in 2024. Now it's going up. And they are predicted that within 2-3 years, you are going to remain 26% over a period of time. So to promote economic growth, we need to do a lot. We need to fix the system.
Okay, all right. Let's start from mine. I have the custodian, and the big story here is Bawumia is our man for 2028. Over 60 NPP MPs declare. And the story is on page 3 of the paper. It says, former Vice President Dr. Bawumia has gained the trust of lawmakers as more than 60 MPs of the main opposition New Patriotic Party have thrown their weight behind him for the party's presidential primary on January 31, 2026. The MPs, representing various constituencies across the country, declared their unflinching support for Dr. Bawumia when they paid a courtesy call on him at his private office in Accra yesterday. Well, Kwame,
yeah.
What do you make of this? Now, since the leadership of the National Council of the party announced that they fixed the presidential primary for 31st January 2026. We've seen a lot of movement in the party, several reactions to this. Yesterday, you saw we are told over 60 MPs have gone to Dr. Bawumia to say, we back you. What does that mean for the flag bearership race in the party?
First of all, I'll say that democracy is a very good thing. I mean, since I think it was first propounded by one of the Greek philosophers. I've forgotten his name. We learned all this. There are various systems of government, but this is the best we have at the moment. And I think it is a good thing that the NPP is choosing their flag bearer now, because every political party, you have to be active on a day-to-day basis. You have to be competitive. You have to be propounding policies that will move the country forward. And when we have such decisions as made by the NPP, that means that those interested in the flag bearership would now have to come out as to why they should be voted for, as to what they can do for their party, as to what they can do for their for the country. And it works all around, even for the ruling government. I'm sure they will also be listening out to what they are saying, and if they have any policies, they can tweak it accordingly. The competitive nature of democracy is good. It makes the country progress. So I think it's a very, very good decision. And I pray that all the political parties will also quickly choose their flag bearers so that we can deal with issues as to how to move the country forward. When there's a lull in political activity, then it just becomes criticism of government policies. But when there's active political activity, in spite of the criticism, you also have people propounding how to move things forward. Because no matter how good a policy you put in place today, society is not static, it is dynamic. Tomorrow, the policies of today may become what do you call it, may become extinct. And then you need the ideas of everybody. Everybody has something in their head that no other person has, which can move the country forward. And I think the NPP has taken the right step. The MPs have thrown their weight behind Dr. Bawumia. But I also heard that there are other people interested in the race. I think Honorable Kennedy Japan.
So Kennedy Japan is there.
Yes.
You have Dr. Yawo. He's also declared his intention. Yes. Brian Achampon hasn't declared forthright because he said he put out a committee to solicit views of the people. Yes. And then he will, based on that, yesterday I spoke to one of his aides, Dr. Amwako Kisi, and he said they are going to release a statement, I think is it today or within the week, that will communicate to Ghanaians what the intention is, whether he will contest. But so now we know Dr. Bawumia will, Kennedy Japan will, Dr. Oseya Odichum will contest. Yes. We are waiting on whether, we've also heard about Kwabena Japan. Yes. He's also said he will. We are waiting on to hear Brian Achampon. And I know that someone like Joe Gate is also, considering his options. So, but for now, confirmed, we know that the 4 people will be contested.
And I like what you said about what Honorable Brian Achampon's strategist said, that he'll communicate to the country.
Yes, yes.
Because politics is only a medium for you to come and serve the country. It's only a conduit. It doesn't end with the political party. Your responsibility is to the people of Ghana. So when the time comes for the NPP delegates to choose, we, the CPP, we are poised to win power in 2028. We are working towards it. But it's an open field. I suppose in politics, anything can happen, no matter which advantage any political party feels they have today, whether it's a ruling party or an opposition. It can change at any time, given the right strategy by the political parties and the goodwill they have for Ghanaians. And I would urge NPP delegates that when the time comes, don't look at the one who will do the most for you, the individual, or will do the most for your party, but look at the one who will do the most for the ordinary Ghanaian and your descendants. Because the decisions you take today will influence what your descendants will come and meet
okay.
many years down the line.
Great. Let me come to Lawyer Dankwa. Lawyer, does the over 60 MPs who say they are supporting Bawumia do anything to the contest?
So, personally for me, and let me add that ordinarily, how the NPP does their business shouldn't concern me.
Okay.
Ordinarily, it shouldn't concern me.
Because you are yellow, you are Afro-Franto.
Yeah, I'm first Ghanaian and second Afro-Franto.
But you are coming out of the NPP, so really.
Yeah, so I'm not in NPP anymore. So how they do their things ordinarily, it shouldn't have concerned me. But because of the system of governance we've taken upon ourselves, and because of the role political parties can and ought to play in the system, then we should all be interested in the affairs of all the political parties. So because of that, I think I'm a bit disappointed in how they are handling their issues. The fact that in spite of the clear issues that they have been dealt with as a political party, in spite of the radical shift of their party from their core principles and values, in spite of the clear issues within their party and how those issues impacted the last elections, in spite of the so-called postmortem that they claim to have done, the fact that they've hidden the said postmortem from the party and from the general public is a bit surprising.
But sorry, I don't catch you, but the postmortem brought about the formation of that committee that has brought these suggestions to the party.
But for a party that claims to believe in the liberal democratic principles, a party that says that they believe in the freedom of thought, to hide the findings from their party, from the rank and file of their party. Well, have you seen the report? But you've not seen the report. So whatever you think you've heard is rumor. You understand? It's taken away.
We have snippet of the report, but yeah, you continue.
It's taken away the opportunity for real debate among the rank and file, even concerning the decision they've taken, which they claim is based on the report that only they have seen. For me, it tells me that this is a party that clearly has no commitment, one, in dealing with the fundamental issues that borders on the soul of the party itself, because the soul of the party is the value system, the principles. You understand? And that it convinces me that the party increasingly is becoming a home for charlatans who just see the party as a vehicle in advancing their parochial interest.
But don't you agree with them when they say the reason we want to do it so early is so that we can close our rank and file and have enough time to build on party unity before the 2028 election? Isn't that a good strategy?
No, in the sense that there's a view, and there's a massive view within the party, that attempting to hold elections and against the clear practice of the party, and the clear practice of the party is that the presidential after every elections there's a restructuring that happens. So you have the polling station elections, you have what's it called, constituency elections, you have regional, and you have
national.
Now, for the party to take a decision as to whether it follows their own constitution or not but for a party that says they are liberal democrats, so to create a system where people can take decisions that are seen to be arbitrary, that goes clearly against their own practices within the party. You understand? Clearly supports that view that the party has now become a home for charlatans who only see the party as a means of advancing their parochial agenda. And so, if that view is to be believed or is to have any credence, then it should not matter whether 60 MPs endorse somebody or not. You understand? At the end of the day, the fundamental issues that have led Ghanaians to lose so much confidence in the ability of the New Patriotic Party to advance the cause of the country are still present. They have not been tackled. You understand? So the argument about, in spite of our practices, in spite of the clear terms of our constitution, we taking this decision, which is seen in some quarters to be arbitrary and against the clear terms of their own constitution, in my opinion, tells me that one of the biggest political parties, institutions in this country is so ill and that their sickness potentially can affect politics in this country, because you see, if there's something that is right, is the belief that for you to sustain democracy, then you have to create a system where your political institutions, the political institutions includes the government, the political government as in the various forms of government, as in the executive, the parliament, the courts, it includes the political parties, I'll add the media, a fundamental role to create that right political culture that would tolerate diverse views, that would hold political leadership accountable, that would create a system where the principles of the rule of law will be guaranteed. You understand? So then, if you have a major political party in the country that is departing from the values and principles that the people of Ghana agreed should underpin their constitution, and which will be a basis for your own constitution and your practices. You understand? And if increasingly your focus is shifting from Ghana, but from using whatever means, including the party as a vehicle, only to advance your parochial ambition, whether politically, whether economically. For me, it tells me that you've even lost focus and there's no reason why you should even continue existing as a political party.
But what they are doing is enshrined in their party constitution. The dates they've set. Because if you read their constitution, it says the National Council shall, and the word is shall, you are lawyers, shall is mandatory, shall decide the date and venue for the presidential primary.
Yes, but
so the constitution has given them that opportunity.
So what I'm saying, per their own constitution, per their own practices. You understand? The presidential election usually is the last leg of a host of elections.
But the constitution is not specific on how it's... So maybe it's the convention.
See, when you do a constitutional debate, and both of you will remember, Professor Kumado told us, so for every constitution, there's what we have written and unwritten.
Yeah.
So you go to a country like the UK, they don't have a written constitution, but their practices are... You understand?
So it's more of the practices.
And so you have a party that have a system. And that system is that after every 4 years, like before they hold the presidential election, there's a fundamental restructuring. So what you do, the polling station, you do, because essentially what they're trying to do is to use the old album to
elect.
And so there's a perception that they want the decision is premised on a desire by certain people within the party to aid one candidate against the other, especially when there's a fundamental call within the party that listen, we need to have a radical alteration. We need to open up the system for every member of the party to vote, because if there's one fundamental problem which has caused people to question the integrity of the New Patriotic Party to their own value, that value being the value of their belief in liberal democracy, which possesses that those who govern must do so with the consent of those they govern. And that's where they've created a situation where usually in their delegates conference, people's votes are bought. And that fundamental principle of liberal democracy is defeated, because then that consent is bought. Yeah. And we know in law that consent is vitiated or it becomes voidable by issues of undue influence. Yeah. You understand? So one would have thought that these lapses, this radical departure from their core values, having led the people of Ghana to give them one of their, in fact, their lowest performance, their worst performance post J.J. Rawlings, the party would have taken this opportunity to reflect and to start the process of reconstituting their party into align to their stated value set. You understand? When you take the position you've taken and when you behave and act in the manner they are acting, then it reinforces the belief that indeed this party has departed fundamentally from their core values and that it's become a home for charlatans whose sole purpose is to use the party as a vehicle to advance their parochial political agenda. And the people of Ghana are watching. Okay. The people of Ghana are watching. The people of Ghana are not convinced. The people of Ghana are asking questions. And it does not matter whether 60 MPs throw their support behind a candidate or not, especially so when this candidate, and based on how things are going, is further losing his credibility. Candidate that was sold to Ghanaians as being an economic expert comes into power and suddenly become an IT expert. And then right after power, he wants to become an economic expert again. You understand? Then it becomes a worry. So, Prof, I beg you.
If you talk about someone losing the credibility, that I think should be backed by some fact, right?
Yes. Yes, and the fact is, in 2016. No, fact.
You should be able to tell that indeed.
Yeah, I'm backing
something
facts.
shows it.
Yeah, and I'm backing with facts. So between 2012 and 2016,
economic messiah.
No, you're asking the specific things he said. Yeah, understand. If the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. We are going to read about transformation. What's called His Excellency, and I said CD9 what attempt the Hattarization of the city, the principle of the Hattarization of the city. You understand?
But the politicians, you're also a politician. You, the politicians, do say popularly that you have campaign platform message. And then when you are in power to
but I've never believed in that. I've met my brother a number of times. I don't believe, because you see, we shouldn't accept.
Your word is your bond.
Yes, we shouldn't accept that's okay. And then you come into power, and then beyond, as in the dollar rise and the breach of everything we knew about economics. Economy 101, the safest place to place your money is in government bonds. That principle was breached. But some of the dangerous fiscal decisions they took. One, you say you are going to do economic transformation. You are going to shift your resources to areas that are more productive as against areas that are less productive. And you sit down and you take the decision to spend 400 million Ghana cedis on one of your most transformational programs, 1D1F, and you spend over 5 billion Ghana cedis on NAPCO. Because in any economy, the role government plays directly is in the fiscal policies, how you raise money and how you spend money. And that decision is very critical. And so to have somebody who the president himself admitted to have taken that Koshoko decision, to spend 400 million Ghana cedis on 1D1F and 5 billion on NAPCO, that shows the extent to which the man has lost credibility. So for me, you see, I don't want to go into any secret because there's so much we can say there. But just to say that from the story, it's not about the 60 MPs throwing their weight. But the story is the refusal of the party to take the steps that will cause a restoration of their core values, which will represent the rebuilding, the reinforcement of the soul of their party.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you. Yes, Prof.
Yes, when my good friend was about to start, he indicated that it doesn't concern him, the 60 MPs supporting Bawumia. It doesn't concern. But I'm sure he spent about 10 minutes or so in discussing. So it means it concerns you.
So what is concerned?
No. And I enjoy his submission.
You can say he's a descendant of the elephant family. So, yeah.
Because when he said
it doesn't concern, but he spoke about it.
More than that. So but the matter concerns you.
But I made a caveat that because we are Ghanaians and because we're political parties, it should concern everyone.
That is fine.
So means it concerns you. But I also
should
enjoy. No, it's better you talk about that. Kwame also indicated that the CPP is poised to take power in 2020.
Exactly.
28.
Yes.
And I'm happy to hear that for the first time.
Oh,
it appears that you are.
Well, in 2024 too, we made that point. But of course, we selected our flag bearer quietly.
But that is fine. That's fine. Michael Frey, I think the number supporting Bawumia, anything that opposition wants to do, a party wants to do, it must concern all of us. You know, a strong opposition party is not an enemy to democracy.
Exactly, yeah.
No, it's not. It rather ensures accountability, essential guidance to peace and to promote growth in our country. It allows the government, it forces the government to sit up. So when you have an opposition party that is strong, well organized, we all will benefit. And for me, this story or the issue is normal. It happens all the time. It's happened in NDC, it's happened in NPP, and I'm told CPP, you're going through the same issue. So I don't see any problem with this. This happened days after the other candidate also had supporters. About 200 and something MDC also coming to his residence, that's Ken, to show their support. And then day after, we saw the minority, or about 60 MPs, who also went to his residence to throw their support to this man. Is there anything wrong with this? From afar, I would have loved a party that had been in opposition just after 5 months. When you don't expect to be in opposition sometimes, and you get there, you are dazed. You don't know what to do. So I would have loved the party will go through the reports submitted by the committee, go through the reports, interrogate the reports, have phases of implementations before you come out to do this. In the wisdom of the NEC, they decided that let's fix a date to do the primaries. They've given reasons why they want to do this. And from afar, I have also realized that for some 1 week or 2 weeks, we've seen some kind of comment from some of the leaders from other camps, from Ken, from former vice president camp as well. So if they don't take care, it might degenerate into other comments and issues that rather will deepen the cracks. So in the wisdom of the NEC, they say, okay, let's have a date and do this, just to calm matters and allow things to prevail. So for me, I would have loved, they would have given phases of implementation per the report they received, and then see how they will restructure, rebrand the party. But for me, if it's about to curb the noise, that will also help. But my issue is that this issue should not degenerate or further cracks in the party. But what they are doing at this moment, they should be very careful and mindful of every action of any of the aspirants. You know, whether Ken or whether Bawumia, all the camps, they must know that it's a common battle they are all facing, they are all fighting. It's about coming back to power in 2028. What can the party, do to ensure that they come back in 2028? I'm not sure that should be the focus of this, the NPP party and executive. And you know, we did assessments over the period. I think last week, we did an assessment of a scorecard of NPP administration in opposition. We assess the minority, we assess the national executive as well. And we also gave some kind of advice, what they can also do to help, push the party to power if they would so wish to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the daily graphic now. On page 16, 14 years of production. Ghanaians see oil as neither a blessing nor curse. That's according to a research. It says the majority of Ghanaians believe that the discovery of oil in commercial quantities significantly has neither a positive nor a negative impact on the country and its citizens. A research by the University of Ghana has established. The study pointed out that in spite of accruing $11.21 billion in oil revenue for the last 14 years, the citizens had not seen substantial reductions in poverty and inequality. I remember in 2008, President Kufuor spent money to bring in Norwegians, if you remember that story,
yes.
To help us on how we wouldn't suffer, how do you call it?
The resource curse.
The resource curse. 14 years down the line, we say it's neither a blessing nor a curse. So we are in between. How does that strike you?
The question again.
I mean, that 14 years down the line, Ghanaians say the oil find is neither a blessing nor a curse. So we are in between. As a Ghanaian, and for what you've all known over 14 years, how does that come to you?
So for me, as the ordinary Ghanaian, how do I benefit from not just oil, but from all the mineral resources that God has blessed us with? I think this question, in my opinion, is similar to what's called the issues concerning our mineral resources. Yes, probably we may not be doing what's called galamsey with the oil, but essentially, for a country that has oil, as an ordinary citizen, I still spend a lot of money buying fuel. There's a fundamental deficiency in infrastructure.
So you were thinking that because we found oil, at least our oil prices would have come down?
Yeah, but it was an opportunity. So let's say we have oil here. If, let's say we, as in our policy, in our strategy, we found a way of refining a bit of the oil here, certainly the cost of oil would have come down. And we know the cascading impact of fuel, what's called, all around. You go to, what's it called, toward the Western region and to the rest of the country. How has the revenue from the oil aided in the lack of infrastructure? How has the oil aided in job creation? How has the oil aided in creating a system where we have the best shot at becoming prosperous? You get the argument. So because of as in the struggle to point to ways in which the oil and similarly our mineral resources has impacted or aided us to fulfill our economic objectives as a people, then I tend to stand with that view that really is not being what's called a blessing
and not being a curse as well.
Well, for now, but you see, unless, because usually the curse of these are resources, one can be seen in strangely the fact that it could usually it impacts the environment, it can bring about real poverty, it impacts governments indeed. So I think that, you see, usually it's like a tree that is not growing. If your tree is not growing, then that it is going to die. So this is not a blessing or a curse. Usually, if something is not a blessing, it will eventually become a curse. You understand? Yeah. So we shouldn't be sitting on our oars and saying that, oh, it's not a blessing or a curse. Because usually it's like a tree. When a tree stops to grow, eventually it will die. Okay. But when something ceases to be a blessing, eventually it will become a curse. So we need to have serious thinking, not just about the oil, but also about all our mineral resources, and find ways and strategies in which these resources, which, like I said again, is the foundation for what? Because when you do the fundamental principle in international investment law, is a resolution by the UN that every country has the what's called the sovereign power over its natural resources. Yeah. So your natural resources really serve as the base for your prosperity agenda. And deep thinking needs to go on in how we can turn our natural resources, the minerals, the trees, and the oil, into real blessing for the ordinary Ghanaian. Other than that, just sit down and say that it's not a blessing or a curse. We eventually turn it into a curse. Because like a tree, if a tree stops growing, eventually it will die.
Okay. But Kwame, we know that the government's free SHS policy, at least had a lot of its funding from the ABFA.
Yes.
Professor Abdullahi of the University of Ghana stated that instead of funding thousands of minor initiatives with insufficient financial backing, the government must prioritize fewer high-impact projects that could be fully executed using the ABFA funds. Wasn't the free SHS one way of doing that? And can't we look at the free SHS to say maybe that could be a blessing? Not now, but in future we could get a dividend.
You are right. The free SHS is it's a good policy, because even if you look at maybe a country like Switzerland, what resources do they have apart from the citizens and their minds? Every resource you have should be invested in the citizens and their minds. They are the ones who bring the ideas to move the country forward. Venezuela is sitting on large oil deposits, but you cannot even get toilet roll to buy in Venezuela. A place like Norway also sits on huge deposits. They have used it well. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait.
Yes.
Kuwait has used theirs so well that in years past, when you get married, apparently I pay $25,000. You don't pay tax, and some countries have found a way to really use it in a certain way. But I mean,
you mentioned UAE entirely, how they've used oil to develop their region.
But I also read somewhere that our oil is not exactly, it's all oil, but there are different grades, and our oil is not exactly the Saudi Arabia or Kuwait type that is in such high demand. So we also have to look at that factor, that assuming we even had larger quantities, is it of what is needed currently on the market as we have it? And also the existing structures of trading in oil. Are we at an advantage or are we at a disadvantage?
But despite that, we've explored oil.
Yes.
We've gotten huge revenues from it.
Yes.
Yet Ghanaians say we don't see anything. That's the
the thing is that it will not bring back what we call in law rebus sic stantibus. That is a radical change in circumstances. I also thought that overnight it will become Kuwait, but it seems it doesn't work that way. It's a gradual process. Investing those resources into free SHS is a very good initiative. You understand me? It builds the manpower. So,
does that make it a blessing for you?
I would say that it is a blessing. It is a blessing. You can say there's room for improvement. When you talk about the resource curse, it is basically when you neglect all other areas because you have identified the resource. And Nigeria was used as a typical example. It had a booming agricultural sector. But the moment they discovered oil, they neglected all other areas, and those areas died. So you don't neglect the other areas because you have identified. Norway with their oil, they still concentrate on other areas. They concentrate on the manpower. It becomes a curse when you see it as a windfall. You don't see it as a windfall. You don't see it as an inheritance that your great-grandfather has left you $20 million, so you are going to stop working. It doesn't work that way. When people say blessing, people think it means I don't have to work 9 to 5 again. It depends on what you term as a blessing. A blessing does not mean there will be a radical change in your circumstances. It only means that there will be a gradual improvement. So you will not see it. It's not all blessings that you see immediately. You will not see it, but you look back one day and you're like, hey, how did we get here. Ghana as we have it today is not Ghana as we had many years ago. I always tell people that the HIPIC initiative, for example, that time I was in the Upper West, I used to go up and down Ghana. So I could see the gradual changes that were, even something as somebody would say, something as small but significant as KVIPs.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of KVIPs springing up saying HIPIC initiative,
Benefits.
which means that there was a huge reduction in people kneeling behind trees to ease themselves. So it's gradual. I think it is a blessing. Every resource is a blessing as long as you don't misuse it and as long as it doesn't need to neglect of other areas. So it is a blessing. We will see the benefits in the long term. I mean, subject to good management of the blessing. If you don't manage it well like Venezuela, then it's not going to yield any fruits. If you manage it the way Norway, Saudi Arabia, and others have managed it.
But Venezuela has some sanctions against that country.
Exactly.
Because couldn't that be a reason why we are not seeing Venezuela probably utilize its resources the way
it could be one of the reasons. As I said, sometimes the market structures can put you at a disadvantage. And it brings us back to the quotation by Osajifo at the beginning, that Africa is not poor. It is it is impoverished by centuries of exploitation and domination. Domination. Because we are dominated. I mean, which decisions do we make for ourselves? If it's 26% debt servicing, do we decide that for ourselves? No, we don't.
But you decided to go for the loans.
We decided to go for the loans because
those are decisions you made for yourself.
It's true, because in the short to medium term, something has to be done. We have to move forward whilst we are restoring our long-term strategies. Because the long-term strategy, we have it. Osajifo gave the blueprint many years ago. And we can see the various governments practicing it. So whilst we are implementing those long-term strategies in the background, there's something you have to do in the short to medium term.
All right, grateful. Let me bring in Prof. Yeah. Prof, you deal with the finance aspect. Now, $11.21 billion over 14 years.
Yeah.
I mean, is what we are seeing enough? 11 billion.
The way you ask the question, I'll see if I'm the administrator of this country. When they come, you don't ask this question. You want to come here,
no, when the minister comes here, ask for this one.
Where's the money? You know, a country, Ghana, we've been blessed with all the resources that we can count. Gold, the minerals, bauxite. Recently, we've discovered another one.
Lithium.
Lithium.
In Central region.
We have everything in this country, yet we're impoverished. We're struggling. And I'm sure the gentleman, the professor who did the research, has done a good thing. And he's asking us a question. Ghanaians see oil as neither a blessing nor a curse. We started commercial oil production as a country in 2010 when we had a former president, and you indicated, gave a good background when we started the production. In fact, all of us thought our predicament had come to an end when we discovered oil. It was pomp and pageantry. We were so happy. Today, we are back talking about this, either a blessing or a curse. Let's take the issue one by one. A blessing. I mean, not a blessing, not a curse. For those individuals who would think it's not a blessing, it's as a result of some revenue volatility over the period. And you know, we don't control prices of oil in the world. We only will control quantity, and that will be determined by the prices globally. So when there are shocks to prices, and in 2015, 2020, you can understand the global shocks in terms of price of commodity oil. And when you have a situation like that, you're unable to plan with your income. You have instability with your inflows because it affects your planning. So I'm sure for those I've not read the entire paper, but for those who would think that it's not a blessing, it's one of the reasons of the revenue volatility. We don't see, and in terms of its impact on individual lives, people we don't see. So those who are that school of thought that it's not a blessing, they don't see real impact in their lives. I have oil, I produce oil, but let us not forget we are net importer. The quantity that we consume are more than what we are able to produce over a period. So technically, we'll still have the oil, but we don't see the impact in our economy. That's for those who think it's not a blessing. But what about those who also, yes, it's not a curse. It's not a curse. Go back to history.
To add a bit of, according to the respondent, and this is a quote, is oil a blessing or a curse? Only 21.6% considered it a blessing. The majority of respondents across the country, especially in Takrady, felt it was neither a blessing nor a curse. 10% explicitly considered oil a curse, while 15.1% were uncertain about its impact.
Well, so I'm not going through the methodology and the size and sample size and all that, but it's a good research, and that's what we're discussing this year. If you go back to history, to Nigeria, when they discovered oil, the Delta, the Niger Delta, or I've forgotten that region.
Niger Delta.
Yeah. They were more into agriculture until they discovered oil. Then they moved into oil. My brother, you can count the number of major conflicts in Nigeria as a result of oil. As a country, we've not had a major conflict as a country. For me, that's why I say it's not a curse.
Okay.
Because we have not recorded any major conflict. If we go to Central or the Western region, the only challenge we've had about the chiefs coming out to say that they are not being taken care of in their region and all that. Beyond this, we've not recorded any major conflict in the country. And that can say it's a plus. Let's also know that it's not a case because we've seen or we've gotten some major development gains. You mentioned the fund that that supported the free SHS.
Yeah.
I don't know the percentage, but about 12% or so, or 14% coming from the ABF account to support the free SHS project. So by and large, we've seen some blessings, some positive signs. We've also seen some worrying signs. But then we want to encourage administrators, those who are in charge of our economy, that beyond the oil, there are so many other minerals that we can get to advantage, that can help the country. So,
but could the issue also be about how people see the distribution? Because this one says, quote, the survey shows that a lot of Ghanaians feel that inequality is a major development challenge that the government should pay more attention to. About 91% of the survey respondents considered inequality as a significant development problem which requires attention. Could that be the issue, the reason why people see it as neither as a curse or a blessing?
Inequality
yes.
In terms of
about the distribution of the wealth. For example, if you go to the Nzima area, the roads are beautifully done. But if you shift to Antares, very poor roads. So if you speak to someone in Antares, well, I've not benefited from the oil. But if you go to Nzima, maybe someone will say, nah, because my community has been constructed.
Yeah. So sometimes it's about priority. It's about priority. A road will be there that leads into another hospital that needs to be constructed in no time. Other places, it will take time. So it depends on where he picked the data from. But I said, by and large, we've seen some promising signs, we've seen some positive, we've seen some negative. It's about inequality. That is why we do research, to inform policymakers. This is what. So we expect that our government should take interest in such reports and then see the best way to implement some of these results.
The head of Energy and Petroleum at the Ministry of Finance, Joseph Sapong, said the government a few months ago amended the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011 to ensure that the entire ABFA was dedicated solely to infrastructure development. Where to go? If we say we want to see the blessing, maybe infrastructure will do it.
The one confession, personally, the way I've seen things in this country, I'm not moved by some of these statements. So we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll do no. Because the biggest problem we have in this country is lack of commitment.
Okay.
Lack of commitment. You see, Ghana, and that's what Alan said. You fully understand. Need to no action, talk only. So forgive me, but. They say they're going to dedicate. So we'll see. You see, how for infrastructure, you can
Tiah will help us monitor whether or not they are channeling.
You can't because the infrastructure deficit in this country is alarming.
Okay.
Yes. So yes.
Once they do infrastructure, could the Western region people also say that we want to see more because that's we are close to the resource?
You see,
or because this is for the entire nation, we have to spread it equally.
This debate was had way back before independence.
I remember.
Yes, way back before independence. But that was what caused
the proposal for federalism.
No. Yes. So, see, there has been misinformation. This misinformation always comes up around August 6th. The view that the National Liberation Movement came out of the UP. When indeed they came out of the CPP. My own father was a CPP member.
Yeah.
Together with, you understand. Now, the CPP was a federation of a lot of youth movements across the country. And central to that was the Ashanti youth. Ashanti youth broke away from the CPP and began the NLM under the auspices of the Otumfuo then and Bafo, it was called Akoto. Now, one of the fundamental reasons why they departed from the CPP was because of this debate, whether or not we should allow every region to use its own resources to develop themselves, or we should pool
the resources together.
Hamid Kuma was really strong on bring everything together so that
let's share
development. So don't let us depart from
that one. It should come into a national call first.
Yeah,
we share.
It's not sure whether or not I agree with that view or not. But if that is a principle, that's an appealed national agenda, then we should consider it's not about because they want to the Ashanti region also.
So we all share.
Use their gold, their cocoa to
because in fact the largest oil find we are about to have is in the Voltaire Basin.
Yeah,
very, very large. So
yeah.
Anyway,
but just to add, we need to also relook at decentralization. Like you were saying, because real governance is not decentralization. If there's any chance of us developing very quickly, then we need to look at decentralization, strengthen our decentralization.
Okay. All right. Now, this is coming from Mr. Kwesi Baini. He says, good morning. It is not a curse because we have what nature has granted us. But the people, as Ghanaians, are a curse to the blessing. Kwesi Baini. Anyway, he is a former DC of Hunter West and a journalist as well. I'm sure you remember him those days. He used to write a lot. Let me bring in a Prof. Prof, let's go to your paper. What paper do you have?
The Ghanaian Publisher.
Okay, all right.
I have a story here on the page 3, page 2. Mohammed's Galamsey work. Facade says Ghana Academic Professional Forum.
Okay.
And then there's one here, the GTech queries F2 NDC PC over title. I'm sure I will touch on the two stories.
Yeah, what story? Yes.
So the first one is on.
You want to touch on the early knockout?
This one?
No, I think we've it's also overflowed.
Okay, but at least you mention it.
He's already mentioned it earlier.
Because of time.
Okay, bro, mention it again.
Yeah, so early knockout. So let me mention it to him. Page 3, early knockout, MPP's MP back Bawumia, and I'm sure it's already overflowed.
Professor, let's go into that.
So the GTech queries F2 NDC and PC over title, Dr. Title. You know, and I'll link this one to the Ghana Academy of Professional Forum. A press conference was organized 2 days ago that gave a score to the NPP administration. And then another issue tackled the fake PhD certificates, and then the Galamsey issue. So I'll link the two. In fact, GTEC, I'm sure, in recent times have been putting names the media about those with fake titles, should not be called themselves doctors and professors. In fact, they are doing well, and there's, so that's why we also added a voice. We individuals coming from academia, we are equally worried about the upsurge of some of these titles over the period of time. We had one, some from this administration. A lot of them names have been mentioned, and if we don't check this, it doesn't speak well for academics. Again, if we are checking PhD titles, we also need to focus on the master certificates and first degree certificates, not only PhD certificate that we should focus on.
No, but this one, he's talking about, for example, some people,
it's about title.
Doctors are honorary, that they are using, and they are cautioning that no. When they also think that you have a questionable PhD, they will question on that.
I'm saying that beyond looking at the PhD.
They should verify people's master's and first degrees.
Because if at that level, at the apex, we are recording such a number, then what about the bottom? The masters and then the first degree. They should also focus on that area, especially in this administration and the number that we are recording. Then on the Galamsey fight, the group also listed some of the activities embarked upon by this current administration. The Blue Initiative to protect the water bodies. In fact, we have not seen major commitment from this administration. The earlier voices we heard before elections have gone quiet.
Really?
Yeah.
And Ken Ashibe is still talking?
We've not seen others.
Okay.
This administration started before the elections. Lot of promises. We want to see same commitment exhibited by this administration. We've not seen that. And I don't know whether we are waiting for the next election, the next 4 years. That is where the CSO, this group of people who were over the place championing this. It's affected everyone. It's an issue that we can't go to sleep. And we want the earlier voices that started. The UTAC, the other members,
say labor.
The labor unions should come up again, and then we'll deal with this issue head on.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Yeah, Apia, from your daily analyst, any issue you want to, we have just 3 minutes now, so you
government must be decisive. NSC as well as June 4 gets massive support as national region. So over 60 NPP publicly endorsed Bawumia. Government to review decentralized SHS food supply, Adan Youth Voice Outreach, NSC Staff Union Hill suspension of Central Management System. I think I'll take the government to review decentralized SHS food supply, and I think it's in line for it's in line with my call for a radical decentralization. So I think as I want to support this call. I think we must revert to days when the secondary school themselves bought their own food. During over the past 8 years, everything was centralized. And I think we also saw the negative impacts when people were fed with what's called insect-infested food and also food. But beyond this, I think we must have, it's really critical that we have a real look at our decentralization system. We must have real fiscal decentralization. Because real development, real governance, what's called, is done there. And this government must do everything in their power to enable that.
Okay. Ojo, we're going. Which issue in the Ghanaian Times you want to take briefly, and let's say goodbye.
I would go for. Okay, we've discussed government committed to enhancing SHS infrastructure.
Okay.
There's a story I wanted to speak on regarding the EC.
Okay.
Which is not here. Is that okay, or I should?
It's not in the Times, but you want to speak on the EC. Okay,
yes,
fine.
Yes. I would say that I listened to Dr. Bosman Asare yesterday. I think he answered the questions very well. He did a good job, and I just hope and pray that the people of Ablekuma North get their representation as soon as possible. The longer it drags, the worse the situation becomes.
Okay.
So that I would make that call.
Thank you very much. So that is Kwame Nkrumah Botiu. He combines the names of two very prominent people. Kwame Nkrumah Botiu is General Secretary of the CPP. Lawyer Apia Dankwa is a lawyer and the spokesperson for the movement for change, Afrafranto. And you also have Professor Boadi there. He is the Dean of the UPSA School of Business. Accounting and finance, yes. I'll be in that school to learn accounting, yeah? Well, this has been the AM show. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay with us because we have a lot to share with you. All right, welcome back to the AM show. And let me remind you that the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair First Clinic is, coming off. It's opening today at the Achimota Mall. On display, we have everything housing and everything home. From building accessories to home appliances, EcoBank is there to finance your purchases in line with our theme for this year, which is Dream It, Own It, and Live It. Wherever to live in Accra, especially if you work and live around Accra Central Circle, Kokoblemle, Jolu, Legon, Achimota, Dome, Taifa, Kwabenya, Pokwase, Amasaman, Suhum, in Sawem, Airport, Ablenkpe, and East Legon, among others. Don't rush to go home today. Pass by the Habitat Fair Clinic at the Achimota Mall and experience everything we have for you. All our exhibitors are offering out heavy discounts. Remember that, heavy discount. And we say, dream it, own it, and live it. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, it's World Refugee Day today, and the theme is solidarity with refugees. Let's have a chat about that. And in studio is Mrs. Nida Jehu Mazu. She's head of UNHCR in Ghana, and that's the it's part of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, right? But a UNHCR, really, what is it?
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So it is the agency.
Oh, so it's UNHCR.
Yes.
Okay, I know that one. Yeah. Okay, that's fine then. So what are we looking at?
We're looking at solidarity with refugees. We're looking at, first of all, well, thank you for giving us the platform to discuss this pertinent issue. Every year, 20th June is set aside for World Refugee Day, as you know. And the idea is to really come together and amplify advocacy for refugees and kind of educate the public about who a refugee is and how they contribute to the host communities that have graciously accepted them. Ghana hosts about 30,000 refugees, mostly from Burkina Faso. 2/3 of them are from Burkina Faso. But
really?
Yes.
I thought it was Liberia those days.
So Liberia, it was Liberia at some point. Ghana had over 48,000 Liberian refugees in Ghana several years ago. But since then, Liberia has held quite a few successful elections. So we invoked what we call the cessation clause quite a few years back and helped them to voluntarily return. Refugees invariably always want to go back home, most of them, when conditions are conducive for them to return, as in the case of the Liberian refugees. For the Burkinabes, because of the insurgents in the Sahel, they fled as a result of that. Okay. And they here in Ghana has graciously received them. Ghana has very generous refugee laws, international, and lives up to its international obligations to the 1951 Refugee Convention and the 69 then OAU Convention as well, which kind of stipulates that refugees essentially are those fleeing persecution, civil conflict, strife, persecution can be also because of the social groupings that they belong to, political beliefs, different things, and come here. often in this region, and in Ghana specifically, we have refused refugees that are fleeing conflict.
Okay.
As I mentioned, we have over 40 nationalities of refugees in Ghana, including Sudan, Syria, name it, Congo, different nationalities.
Some time ago, I knew of some Ivorian refugees around the Nzima area.
Yes.
Are they still there?
So again, luckily, you may recall that Ivory Coast held a successful election, and so we did voluntary repatriation, encouraging them to go back, and most of them did. A good number opted to remain in Ghana, and about a month ago, I'm very pleased to share that the minister, the Honorable Minister for the Interior, and the Controller General of Immigration gave them what we call alternative legal status. So they have residence permit in Ghana. It's a little shy of 500 people, but they have indefinite residence in Ghana.
Okay.
So the Ivorian case is de facto closed. Okay. Again, because everything, the refugee journey hopefully comes to an end. It is what refugees wish. It is what those of us in the humanitarian sphere also wish. Because they don't leave like you and I planning to go and study somewhere or go in search of greener pastures. They leave because they have to flee. As we sit here today, I'm pretty sure you don't have your certification of what you've studied with you. You probably don't have your passport. You probably don't even have your phone charger. If we had to flee now to go somewhere else, we have to start from zero, and we have to convince people. We don't have trade that we do with our hands, you and I. So how do we convince people what we are able to do? And how do we re-engage? So it is in that spirit that we often ask populations to support refugees to be able to do what they can. But once they find their feet, they contribute very meaningfully. We have a PhD holder at the Noguchi Institute in Ghana who is a former refugee, got all his education in Ghana and contributing incredibly to the community. We have several, I have so many examples. I have a refugee that built a school in South Sudan for close to $200,000 because he was a refugee in South Sudan, then, and wanted to give back. So many examples of former refugees that are contributing, outliers, really contributing massively to the community. We also have the average guy that also contributes because they contribute to nation building, they contribute to the economy once Ghana allows refugees to work, and most of them work in the informal sector. For the Burkinabes, about 86% of them self-identify as farmers, crop farmers. 2% as in animal husbandry, but 86% as crop farmers, which means that they are bringing skills to a northern area that they have that we don't have. For example, they plant hibiscus, they plant sesame seeds, and now this is also getting into the fray of the Ghanaian farming community, which is amazing. This is what we hope for, the cross-learning. But I think the main thing that we, as you know, the theme today is solidarity with refugees. The main thing truly is to think about empowerment and inclusion. As I alluded to, when something, if we had to flee, somebody has to receive you. And it's through no fault of the refugees. They are the ones fleeing the conflict. And 70% of all refugee situations are women and children. So they are not the ones instigating the conflict. So this is one key thing that I would like us to walk away with.
Okay.
And they come with skills. They don't come completely with nothing. Again, just before they fled, they were able-bodied heads of household looking after their families. So crossing a border into another country doesn't deprive them of that. What they do need is an enabling environment to be able to thrive and contribute the skills that they had to the society.
Okay. So I mean, you've mentioned that recently the Interior Minister and the Immigration has granted some, but in general, how's the government of Ghana supporting refugees in this country?
The government of Ghana is giving protection to refugees by ensuring that they have the legal framework to be able to exist and coexist peacefully. The law, as I mentioned, is very generous for refugees. Refugees can enjoy the same level of education and healthcare as nationals. So if a Ghanaian can have free education, then the refugee would have free education. We enroll them as UNHCR. We support them through Ghana Refugee Board to enroll on the National Health Insurance Scheme, and they have the same access as Ghanaians. On the flip side, what we do is to come in with development actors and other partners, donors, to be able to make sure that the areas that are hosting refugees are well equipped. Because
that's UNHCR.
As UNHCR.
Okay.
Because often, if you take, you mentioned, for instance, Ampain.
Yes,
Ampain is not airport residential area. So bringing more people there means that the infrastructure is trained for the already impoverished host community. So how do we correct that? We make sure that we, if the district had planned to have, for example, 40 kids to a teacher in that district, now we have refugee children there, and therefore that ratio might go up to 45 kids or 50 kids or 60 kids per teacher. So how do we correct that? We make sure that we can expand the classroom block, either build more classrooms or get our partners to build more classrooms and expand it in order that the strain on the host community is less. On the flip side, if we put potable water or a playground or livelihoods project in the area, the host community also benefits from that. So this is the symbiotic relationship that refugees and host communities have.
Okay, so how can the Ghanaian public, the media and private sector demonstrate solidarity with refugees? Maybe we'll wrap up with that.
You're doing it. Just giving us the platform to talk about refugees is amazing. Just for employers, private sector, hiring refugees, because in Ghana, they do have the right to work. For those, a lot of them have gone to school. In the last 8 years, we have 929 university graduates that are refugees that through UNHCR, they got sponsorship to go to university. So they're here and the country can tap into their expertise. Beyond that, even when it comes to the informal sector, a good number in TVET areas of training, but also the farmers. The Ghana government is leading an initiative, the Ghana Refugee Agribusiness Sustainability Program, GRASP for short. It's a government-led development initiative and it's agricultural. This administration has prioritized agribusiness, and so the UNHCR has thrown itself behind the government to be able to make sure that we have this GRASP project active in the north, in areas that are hosting refugee populations, including Bono East, but also Upper West. These are key site areas for flagship projects for agriculture. We have other partners from the private sector, but essentially, as I mentioned, government and development partners that have come around the table to help us to be able to push this. And this is something that is very useful. Aggregators, we have off-takers ready to help. And it includes host community. It's not limited to the refugees, but also host community.
Thank you very much. Your name is Nida, and I love the name, Nida Jehumazu.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's the head of office of the UNHCR Ghana office. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For passing.
All right.
All right, and all the best as we celebrate our refugees today.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it here, and still on the AM show, we'll be analyzing what has been happening in the NPP for you here on the AM show. So you have to stay with us. But you know what? The conference, the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana presents the CIHRM 2025 conference from June 18 to 19 at 2025 at Alisa Hotel on the theme Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, and Sustainability. Well, conference rate for members is 3,200 cedis, non-members is 4,000 cedis, student members is 2,000 cedis. You can register now via the CIHRM website or at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. You can contact them on 0243278694 or 0208 for group registrations and discounts. CIHRM, transforming work and workplaces. You stay with us. There's more to come. All right, so welcome back to the AM show. As we always say, the AM show is sponsored by Whaley Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable cost and with flexible payment option. And you know what? The beautiful and intelligent Sweetie Abochi is here.
Me on the TV today, but I'm back here.
Yes.
So let's get into our big stories right now. We have our guests, one in studio and some on Zoom. But we are focusing on the former Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, because he's declared confidence touting some 60 members of parliament who support him. That is from the minority side of parliament, of course. But he faces some backlash from rival competitors in the race for the NPP presidential candidate, who say using members of parliament is just a propaganda tool. This is coming just days after the party proposed in an early flag bearer election in January 2026. Is there a looming party crisis or routine that is bringing all these things to bear? Let's hear from our guests. Joining us via Zoom, in studio first, we have Dr. Tiah Kabiru Mahama. He's Member of Parliament for Wale Wale. And joining us on phone, we have Dr. Kwesi. He's a Senior Lecturer, Department of History and Political Science. Dr. Mahama, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sweetie.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
But I want to start from Zoom and speak to Dr. Machi first. Dr. Machi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. I'm sure some of the news articles flying around on this particular topic has caught your attention. How do you react to this initially before we get to the meat of the matter?
Thanks for the opportunity, and let me say good morning to your viewers and listeners. I've already made some remarks to the effect that NPP has been in crisis for a while now, and they don't appear to be coming out. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. So let me just build on this. The crisis has been there simply because of the fact that they have neglected the provisions in their own constitution and gone about so many things which simply were, unconstitutional. It started with the sacking of Polapoko and Kwabene Japan, and then the center of power in the party. And clearly, lawyers in the party have come out openly to suggest that the center of power, authoritative decisions in the party are, center on the party chair at all times, whether they have a flag bearer, whether they have a sitting president, that is what their constitution stipulates. And to the extent that do otherwise, that indicates confusion. Following massive law, in the last, you would have said that structure themselves by their constitution.
Actually, Doc, some argue that that's the whole purpose of this, to restructure and unite the entire party behind one flag bearer 2 clear years before the election 2028. That's the strategy. If you listen to some of them, like Kofi Tonto, who hosted him yesterday.
Is really problematic. Why do you begin from the top? Why do you begin from the top? How do you put together the register for the election? Because if together register, you begin structure the grass. It means you begin structure from grass. That will come after a review of the constitution. Identify with the current constitution, which has brought this far.
Dr. Machibuatin, we are losing a chunk of your submission, so our technical team will try and reconnect you. I think it's just a problem with the connection. Meanwhile, let's come back in studio and get your initial reactions right now. But before even zooming into what Dr. Dr Bawumia has been saying, it looks like he's not the only one who is touting confidence. We've heard that there's some 289 people who candidate Japan, MMCEs, who he's also assembled. So it's not only Dr. Dr Bawumia, but he's the one who's saying he's confident. But initial reactions, Dr. Mama.
Well, so good morning to you, sweetie, and good morning to Samuel, and then good morning to the good people of Wale Wale. The Republican saying that Mina Akoba few are chosen. In race and contests of this nature, you expect everyone to, express confidence that he or she is going to win. Even when Akua Donkwa of blessed memory was in the race for becoming the president of the Republic of Ghana, she expressed similar confidence that she was going to win. So people expressing confidence.
So did the NPP in the lead up to election.
That's so did the NDC in the lead up to 2016 election. So every political party, will have that particular confidence. But the reality is when you get yourself, you are bootlace, and you now go to the field, that is where the reality will then set in. But you can, as an objective and independent standby buyer, you can really tell that looking at the wave looking at the soul and spirit of the party, there is no doubt in any objective mind that the party and the grassroots, the crème de la crème of the party, is actually yearning for a certain candidate. And that is demonstrated by the sheer numbers of people who are representing various constituencies and their affinity and belief in same. And I think that the call by the members of parliament to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not just their own call, it's a call of the people they represent. The people they represent feel stronger that the candidature of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia still is the most potent tool to gain his power in 2028. So for me, it is not for their own sake, it is not for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's own sake, it's for the revival of the NPP and for the NPP having the capacity to wrestle power from the NDC in 2028. And that clearly, for me, is a duty that you like him or not, you know, and you listen. It's sometimes it's not even the very best of you who will be given the opportunity, but the one who is able to, you know, represent the identity of the party, someone who is able to have the faith and belief of the Ghanaian people that given opportunity, the person will have something valuable and insightful to contribute to the development of Ghana. And then given the opportunity, that person will lead us as a whole, a country without, division. So I believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's call is a good call, and then we have no option but just to support the call because it is for the soul of the NPP, it is for the soul of the country, it's for the confidence that the Ghanaian people would have in an alternative government.
Okay. How do you respond to people who say this early election that you're planning to have, is there a strategy to keep the current executives, some of the current executives in place? Because if you were to go for elections to elect executives before the flag bearers, some of them or most of them would lose their seats.
At the end of the day, those executives will go for elections. Those executives are not the executives who are going to send us to the elections, right? So the argument that either top-down or bottom-up is neither here or there. Look, the party constitution clearly says that you must have your flag bearer of the party at least 2 clear years to the elections.
So you're not doing anything contrary to...
We are not doing anything contrary to the constitution. If someone draws our attention to the constitution, sometimes I just beg of those people to, point to the provision of the constitution that has been violated.
Actually, on that point, let's go back to Dr. Amachi Boateng, because he was making the point that it's a bottom-up approach and it doesn't serve you well. Doctor, hopefully we've restored your connection. Please continue your submission on how you think the NPP's new election dates for the primaries, is a bottom-up approach. Dr. Amachi Boateng. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good. The dates appear precious simply because we don't know when the other processes will come to an end. And then contestants for the bearers could start their own campaign. I hear that the delegate issue will come to an end somewhere in December.
Mm-hmm.
And if indeed that is the case, then we realize that the whole thing appears to be rushed.
But, Dr. Mahama is just saying now, Dr. Amachi Boateng, Dr. Mahama is just saying now that they're not doing anything contrary to what their constitution stipulates.
I hope that is so. The whole aspect of, starting from the top, I like to believe does not necessarily come from the constitution. And then I personally believe that given what has happened to the party, the problem must necessarily come from the constitution. That there are certain things, provisions in the constitution that have not, allowed the party to come out as effective and efficient, especially when they were in government. Given that you want to revisit your constitution and address those issues, put the constitution out, let the rank and file accept it, and if indeed the elites in the party could come to some sort of compromise on those revealed provisions in the constitution, then they will be acting to provide stability. But in the absence of that, everything appears to be done favor some, particular individuals in the party.
Okay.
If they are getting the delegates at the end of December, and you have January, the end of January, go election. The time there.
Dr. Machi-Boateng, I have to let you go at this point because we still can't hear you clearly. We'll try again, but hopefully when you come back, then that's that. Kojo Brace spoke to some people yesterday. Yeah. Let's get that.
On Top Story yesterday, we spoke to Dr. Mwakukisi, who is an aide to a hopeful of the flag bearership, Brian Achampon. Also spoke to Dr. Stephen Amwa. He is part of the Ken Ejapon campaign. And after we spoke to those two people, we found out from the party what are they doing to rein in people so that you can keep the party structure running. And we spoke to the Deputy General Secretary, Haruna Mohammed. Okay. So we'll listen to all of the three people that we spoke to yesterday on Top Story.
I think just recently there was a NEC meeting which, as it is, put out a date for the presidential elections or primaries. Though we had reservations, I think during the meeting it was made known. Subsequent to that, we think that once the party has set a date, we'll work within that. However, we are of the opinion that strengthening the base and doing it from a down-up approach would have been in the interest of a stronger.
Okay.
Because we were of the opinion that the 9th parliamentarians will not, in the interest of the party, make a declaration of such, because of what we are hoping to achieve for the greater party. So I must admit that, this noise, or as it is, statement of declaration is shocking for me or surprising because in my discussions with their leadership, at some point, it was very clear in my mind that the 9th parliamentarians will not, as it is, make a declaration. Because in the interest of the party, the greater party, we were of the opinion that the 9th parliamentarians will conduct themselves, not necessarily neutral, but will not go public.
They not necessarily go there because they support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That is not true. Even there were some MPs who did not go. That I believe they also support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You see, this is internal election. Let's stop the propaganda and focus on issues that will actually illustrate who has the support at the base. The same day, today, over 260 former MDCs and DCs, all of them came and met Honorable Ken Ejapon today. I can tell you about 90% of such a large number support.
But you are casting doubt over someone's number, but you want people to believe your number you're putting out.
They will send the pictures. We have their names. They wrote their names and their numbers. We can send to you.
Good evening, Bruce. Good evening to your cherished listeners. And I don't know those on the panel for this particular discussion. I say good evening to all of them. The party has issued a statement indicating a decision that was made by the National Council per a motion that was moved and adopted by Council for presidential primaries to be done. In every presidential primaries or any parliamentary primaries or any elections in the party, we come out with the rules of the game, the elections that is being conducted. And it's very indicative that.
All right, so those were the people whom we spoke to on Top Story yesterday when the issue broke. But we still have Dr. Kwesi Amache-Boateng on the line. Okay. But let's come into the studio and bring in. You were having he was answering a question when you went on the phone lines. Yes, let him continue.
About the Constitution gives you the backing to do your elections and elect a flag bearer 2 clear years before we go to the polls. When you're done with that submission, I'd like you to expatiate for us exactly what is boosting your confidence in the same flag bearer who led you to that massive loss you faced in the 2024 election. Although he went as a, what's it called, running mate. But this is the same man that you're vouching for.
So like I said, the Constitution, clearly, the NPP will not do anything that is outside of the law guiding the entity, the association, and the political party, the New Patriotic Party. Will not do anything that would probably let people have doubt as to the process, because procedural propriety is as much important as a substantive propriety, and the NPP is clearly within the Constitution, and the timing of when National Congress should be had to elect presidential candidate is determined by NEC. Whereas other decisions are taken by Congress, and of course the party has already announced that in July we'll be having the National Delegates Conference, where we will determine other matters that are exclusively within the purview of Congress. But those that are within the remit of NEC were those that were determined, i.e. the date for the organization or for the conduct of presidential primaries for the New Patriotic Party. So, anyone, you may not be okay that for the first time the NPP is starting from the top to down, instead of them starting from polling station executive to constituency executive to regional elections. But a party in power and a party out of power, the Constitution has different provisions dealing with that. We cannot use a situation where we are in power, because when we are in power, they don't want to destabilize the stability of the party. So you see them organizing sometimes 8 months to election parliamentary primaries. You see them organizing one year. In fact, they say that you should not organize it more than 1 year to election for presidential primaries. So you see that when we have a government in power, the NPP has a government in power, any presidential candidate we cannot elect any presidential candidate unless sometime in December or sometime 1 month to the elections. So that is the reason why sometimes there are differences and people may not be okay.
Says 11 months to the election.
Yes, so that is what accounts for the difference. But if we're not in power, 2 clear months to elections.
Yes, you mean?
Yes, is what we need. Now, on the issue of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia candidature and why we should still have faith, first and foremost, the New Patriotic Party performed so badly in the last election. And anyone observing cannot say it was the fault of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You cannot say it was the fault of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It was a collective responsibility of the New Patriotic Party, our failure to address certain demands of the Ghanaian people, and their apathy that was devolved thereof. Okay, it has nothing to do with the personality of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Otherwise, the same argument were being advanced by people who were not supporting Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2016. In fact, by no less a person by Mr. Alan Chermantin that why do you go to an election with someone who lost terribly in the last elections, right? After that was his second time of losing to the NDC. The same argument. So it's a cycle that any opponent would want to use to jettison a certain candidate. But if you look at the voting pattern and you look at what happened, it is the apathy of the Ghanaian people, the Ghanaian people not being okay with certain development in the NPP government were the major determinants of... Now,
good point there. Let's pause here for a bit. You said that it's because of what the NPP...
I'll let you ask you a question, but we're educating people. According to your constitution, when the party is in government, the election of a presidential candidate shall be held not later than 11 months before the national general election. So that's just to clarify that point.
Okay, so that was the point I made. Within a year or a year to the elections.
So you said that it's because of the failure of the NPP government to meet Ghanaians at the point of their needs. But the NPP government had a leadership. We had the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. and we had a vice president for 8 years. This man was a vice president, and that was what gave you the confidence that he would do a good job or a better job even than former President Akufo-Addo, which is why you took him to lead you into the elections, but he failed. So if you say there's no reason why anyone can say Bawumia is a reason why you failed, I still need some clarity on that.
So one, every single member of the NPP had a role to play to ensuring that the NPP governed well. Every single member, right from the president to the messenger in the NPP. And it will be cowardice. It will be run away from responsibility if any member of the NPP so decide to say that I'm exonerating myself of blame because my party performed so badly, and that you are now looking for one single person to heap the blame on. That is any person behaving that way is not even qualified to be a member of the NPP to start with, because you are in an entity. You all take responsibility for whatever the entity. Whatever transpired in the entity, that's the first step. Of course, those with the responsibility as head will take ultimate responsibility. Okay? And if there's any ultimate responsibility for anyone to take, it is not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
So who? Akufo-Addo?
Of course, he was the alpha and omega because he was the president. Get the point? I'm saying that every single member of the government would have to take responsibility. But if there's ultimate responsibility to take, then it's the head of the entity.
Is this a case that
it is not to suggest that Nana Akufo-Addo do so bad and that he has failed Ghana? That's not the suggestions. What I'm suggesting is that if there is any dissatisfaction, either rightly or wrongly so, someone has to take responsibility. Then the head of that institution is the one to take responsibility.
I listened to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the lead up to the election, where he said, I think it was one of the things, you were launching something, what a campaign or so. And he said, yes, and he said that he cannot take himself, I'm not quoting him, I'm paraphrasing the meaning I got from what he said. He cannot take himself out of the things that this administration, their governments did. Every decision that was taken unanimously. He may not agree, but once the government took that decision, it is government. So you cannot say that you're laying the blame on the doors of former President Akufo-Addo. It sounds as if you are inculpating him so that he carries the blame because you know he can't come back. Dr. Mahama.
Sweetie, this is not what I said. This is not what I said. And what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said is exactly what I have said. What he said is exactly what I've said, that every single member of the NPP, including Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, takes responsibility for the abysmal performance of the NPP in the last elections, including myself.
So why don't you try somebody else?
That everyone in the NPP takes responsibility. Then someone from the NPP must rise up to the occasion, correct the wrongs, and then exonerate the NPP, so that the sense of, if you like, the sense of disappointment of the Ghanaian people towards the NPP. It's only an NPP member who can do that. But he was part
of the sense of disappointment that Ghanaians experienced.
Was the rest of the candidates were part.
Yeah.
All right. So if you say, then you then say that we should close the entity NPP. But remember, the NDC had the same bad performance in 2016 elections. Okay. All sorts of things were said about John Dramani Mahama. People said he could not even ever come back to power. But this is the same man who came back and won by a margin, a record margin that has never happened in the history of the country.
According to you, is because your party, your government did not meet us at the point of our needs. That
is one, exactly. And that the people then found the new National Democratic Congress as an alternative to the NPP. Okay. So if the NPP should come with a leader, with clarity of mind, with very good vision, with the track record of doing something that if he's given opportunity, he might do better. That person coming would probably put the NPP in a good position to win power.
Have you conducted any research to, indicate that Bawumia is the best fit to lead the party for the next election?
Well, you guys are also good at doing this opinion poll. Go to the street. Sample any time.
No, among yourselves.
We have done that. If Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had come to the determination that he's not a best fit for the NPP at the moment, mindful of the fact that he's mindful of the existence of the New Patriots, were mindful of the fact that he puts the NPP party, Ghana, before his personal interest. Mindful of the fact that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's ultimate goal is to ensure that NPP is in government and working to the good of the Ghanaian people, he would not have presented himself for this particular post.
Well, but in 1992, Professor Albert Tudubuahene led your party and secured 1,204,764, representing 30.29%. That's 1992. 96, he was dropped. Why do you think after your leader had gone to, get that performance, is a 41-point-something%, he's still worthy to be presented again as a flag bearer of the party?
So if you want to, probably you read the whole statistics. Maybe 1996, come to 2000, come to 2004, come to 2008, before you can come to that conclusion. But if you stop at 1996, where Nana Akufo, Professor Edubuahin was competing with His Excellency John Ajokun Kufuor, who started this particular race, and these were people who have known, who have been in this particular contest for even before 1996, before democratic era. Edubuahin has been in the picture, right? So it will not be fair to stop at 1992 elections, where it was even declared as even a stolen verdict, where the NPP, in their own estimation, felt that the 1992 election was a stolen verdict. So it has nothing to do with the performance of Edubuahin in that particular contest. Okay. Because in the mind of every NPP supporter, the 1992 election was a stolen verdict.
Okay.
So how do you then want to attribute it to the fact that it was his performance, that was why he was dropped? He wasn't dropped because of his performance. Okay. Because at that time, old age had catch up with Edubuahin. They needed someone who could represent the aspiration of the people. If we come to that point, and the good people of Ghana or the NPP people think that Bawumia is not that particular candidate, they will change him. Okay. But for now, under the circumstances, he is the best fit for the job. And the same statistics, we can mention the same statistics. That's what I'm saying, that if we want to follow the trajectory, you realize that no candidate of the New Patriotic Party in his first attempt has made it to there. In fact, no president in Ghana except Jerry Rawlings. Okay, so it is not...
So is that the advantage Bawumia has over Kennedy Japan? Because if it's a numbers game, you say several MPs, they say over 200 MMDCs also are supporting him. So is it because it's a first time and you want to win the next election?
Well,
so you'd rather not risk it?
In the first place, not to diminish the role of only MMDC. MMDCs, even some of them came out and were granted media that they cannot support someone who had constantly bastardized them. Some of them had mentioned that, but after Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia meeting, I have not heard any of the over 60 MPs making a statement contrary. Two, as a representative of the people of Wale Wale, as a member of parliament for Wale Wale, there were people who voted for me. If I take a decision that is contrary to what they want, I will not secure a mandate again. If I take a decision in supporting the presidential primaries, in supporting a candidate who is not reflective of their wishes and aspirations, I cannot have their mandate again. So those over 60 MPs are mindful of this, that any decision we are going to take, we are looking at the situation in our constituencies, looking at what the people want, and doing anything that will please what they want.
If you've not conducted a poll, how do you know what the people want?
Who says we've not conducted the poll?
You've conducted a research.
You said we should do it.
I didn't say you should do it. I said that you have. And I said that if Bawumia had not done it and had not come to the conclusion, he would not have presented himself.
But it's not something you will share with us.
That's what I'm saying, that it is something, even there are public, if you listen to even your famous Musa Dankwap latest research, he said Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is still the favorite of the people. Okay, I'm not even going to use our own research. I'm just giving you research of people independent of the MP, because you can say that we did our own research. Why should we have trust? And that was why I was referring to your own conduct, that you should go to the street, ask any MPP supporters. They may probably help us. Okay, so then there's clarity in the mind of the NPP that under the circumstances, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the best candidate. Maybe tomorrow he might not be, maybe tomorrow next some other person will come. But under the current circumstances of the New Patriotic Party, if we ever want to wrestle power from the National Democratic Congress, we have no option than to present Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
But it's not troubling for the Bawumia camp that a lot of people are saying the rules are being bent just to favor your camp.
If you make such an allegation or accusation without pointing to one specific rule that has been bent to support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
That by convention, you start from your polling stations, elect them, elect the electoral area coordinators, you come to the constituency, regional, national, before the flag. By this time, you've decided that you're doing it top-down.
I'm saying that the top-down was a decision taken at NEC.
Yes,
a motion was moved by John Ntimfodio, not even one single member. In fact, with the exception of one, that is the treasurer. About 99% of the members supported it. So who is bending rule? Are you then saying that the NEC, which is the composition of a body, which is cut across everyone, in fact, including some of the aspirants who were there, are they telling me that when they moved the motion, they were against it? No. So you cannot sit down in a decision taken, then you then come out and you are crying foul. Every single member, as the exception of one, and that's what it is, like 99.9999%, said they were in favor of early Congress and they were in favor of the presidential primaries coming first. Okay. There were other people who were still thinking that, well, looking at time, we can also do polling station or executive elections and come and do presidential election because we are mindful of the time. We are mindful of the constitutional time. And sometimes you realize some people give a different date. It was like December, and some said, okay, January, because they were all looking at the timing. Because if you get the time wrong, you will be breaking the constitution. So no person bent any rule to favor Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The same thing happened when Dr. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was the candidate. The popular support around him, people misconstrued that to mean that he was bending the rules to favor himself. But you see, when you have the party supporting you, when you have the grassroots of the party supporting you, when the energy with which and the power with which your campaign is going, people who are underdogs will have reasons to complain. Just like we were doing in the last election, they said, oh, we are using executive power, that people were whipped. We are in opposition. No single member of the parliament has been whipped.
Okay. Dr. Mahama, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not the only name out there. So first advantage, like you said, is that nobody has ever won an election as a first-timer. So that's his added advantage. That's his unique selling proposition. Yeah. What else does he have over, say, Kennedy Japan, Brian Echampong, and the other names that are coming? Well, what does he have over them? What makes him a better choice? Comparative analysis.
If I have to do comparative analysis, then we have to be doing some matrix of all them, because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia may be sharing certain qualities with another person where another person may not have it. So what I would extol is the virtues, the qualities of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because I will have to compare with probably Adanimo. I have to compare with Brian.
But has Adanimo declared intention?
I mean, for yesterday, I have got news that he has hinted his intention.
Okay.
Brian Achampong, a fine gentleman. Mr. Kennedy Ajapong, Mr. Ken
Kwabena
Ajapong, if he's coming. You see, so it will be difficult to say that he has it over this person is having. But what I do know is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has got gifted and hard-earned talent, which is a prerequisite for the development of the country, which he intends to unleash. Every candidate contesting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia cannot dispute this fact. That when it comes to the technical expertise, technical know-how, to transform in terms of thinking through the box and outside the box, of a life-changing intervention that can change the fortunes of the country, he has one, and that given the right political power and control, he can unleash the development potentials of this country.
These qualities, when we needed it.
That is one. That is one. We have already explained and litigated same on this particular platform that the executive governance system makes it difficult for any vice president, not just Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And as a matter of fact, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was even gracious enough to allow Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia lead certain things and change the fortunes of the country. But the executive nature of power makes it difficult for any vice president to take his own initiative, implement the initiative, and take responsibility and credit for same. Right? So this is why we are saying that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was not clothed with the executive power to take decisions and take responsibility for same. When Ghanaian people, by the grace of God, give him that opportunity, he's going to do that. 2, a leader, for me, I believe that one of the most important cardinal, in fact, is an essential requirement of a leader is emotional intelligence. In most difficult times, the character of a leader speaks to the ability of the leader to rally people through in terms of difficulty. If you don't have good emotional intelligence, they are giving you the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces that if you don't take time, sitting on radio saying something that angers you will make you order the military to go and take the person out. Because you have in your powers, on your fingertips, certain powers that the ordinary Ghanaians don't have it. If you don't know how to manage that power, it is something that is going to be terrible for the country. So I think that it is not just going to the polls to elect a leader, but someone you know that you can go and sleep, that any dissent will have expression within the constitutional walls of the country. That is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia comes with. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia comes in as someone who can, bridge the divide that may be, as Ghana has done relatively well in that particular regard, that irrespective of where you come from, we come from different places, but we sit down on national TV and discuss national issues. We come from different ethnicity, different religion, but our commonness of purpose. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is someone who can codify, who can solidify, who can crystallize this particular commonness of purpose of Ghanaian people.
6 months to January 1st, 2026, which is the date you set for the primaries. If you come out of that and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia doesn't emerge winner, how do you react to that?
There is no need to plan on the remote impossibility of an option. Okay, there's no need to plan on it. But that said, we are going into that particular context. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going into that context, knowing very well that the ultimate decision to determine who leads the party are the members of the New Patriotic Party. Actually, we want to bring our audience in on this conversation. Yeah. And so we want to open the phone lines for them to call us and ask their questions. Keep it short. Don't listen to us on the TV set. Listen to us on the mobile phone. The phone numbers are on your line on the screen: 0302-211-691. So call us and join the conversation. This is the Have Your Say segment. Go ahead. Yeah. So mindful of that, the outcome of the election is a statement. Just like he did. For the first time, a candidate losing an election without dragging the matter forward, looking at the data, came out to concede. It is difficult to do that, but because of how sportive he is, he's a sportsman. That's the reason why he came out early to say that, look, looking at data, I've done the analysis, we have had our data, and it's clear that we have lost the elections. He didn't go inciting violence. The same thing that he would do should the impossible happen. Okay. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would again come out and support any candidate who is so elected. And so is the expectation of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that any candidate who loses this particular election or primary should also come on board support. Anyway, when we come back, we'll have a caller. But when you come back, you answer the same question about people accusing Dr. Bawumia of conceding too early. That's what affected several of your seats. We have Albert, I believe. Exactly. Good morning. You're live on the AM show.
Good morning.
So what's boggling your mind? Tell us.
Yeah, I just want to say something about the race to the NPP federation. Yeah, I'm a member of the party as well, and I think that at this moment, Bawumia is the only candidate that can lead to victory. Fact is that he's marketed, and as you know, there's nobody who has won any election for the line going for the first time. So it will be with money if you try any other candidate. Of course, they can all come and try, but I think Bawumia has marketed himself very well. We all know that he holds the election not because of his own doing.
All right.
But, yeah.
Thank you for calling and adding your voice to the conversation. Let me quickly pick another call from Pandai, and then we come back into the studio. Good morning. Tell us your name and go straight to your question. Hello, Mr. from Pandai. What's your name? All right, let's move on. Kojo, you wanted to
So how do you answer that question?
Yes,
because you said he came out to declare because he saw the records. But some of your party members who are against him now say he did it too early. That's why they couldn't hold on to
those people who said that are looking at it from the party perspective, not the national perspective.
Okay.
And he was running to become the president of the Republic of Ghana.
But it's the same party that he wants to become a flag bearer of.
But you are coming in to represent the good people of Ghana. You don't destroy the entity. If Ghana doesn't exist, NPP will not exist. Simply that. So NPP's own survival depends on what he did. NPP as an entity, own survival depends on what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia did. So people may have issues. One constituency or another may have issues that people are now grabbing their constituency from them because of these particular actions. But you will need to live to fight another day. And that is what I think those people should be concerned about.
We have Alexander. I have my own question. Is Bawumia influencing your national executives to break convention in his favor? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Alexander from where are you calling us from? Medina. Okay.
I'm calling from Medina.
All right. Share your thoughts.
Yes, it looks as if we need to measure competence and quality of the individual first before there's emotional intelligence and other things. In the first place, Bawumia was brought in as economic measure. He failed woefully. And as of today, 6 months, the economy is now rebounding back. So it is obvious that Bawumia is not the best choice to rule the country.
Okay.
Secondly, as a leader, he should have been first be able to put all these people together, take commanding heights, and ensure that, yes, peace is restored. Whichever means that he will use, he should have been able to use it. As at now, still, there's cracks in the party. People are still bamboozling their way through. The principles of values and the core values of the party is still not there. These are the major things that we will expect a leader to do. And it is even going to be worse when the economy stays like this. Why would somebody bring somebody whose inflation was somewhere 54 when inflation now has come to aid? It is better they restructure the party, look through properly, and don't push people through.
All right.
That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much for calling. Case in point, the thank you tour didn't go as well as you'd hoped. And it was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who was leading this. So if he couldn't pull the party, the entire party, behind him, to rally behind him, to say thank you to the people of Ghana, that's the question the man is
so
asking.
the NDC, Dr. John Mahama oversight over a collapsed economy, banking sector collapsed, inflation was galloping, exchange rate was on a deep note, but still, he came back to power because there was something different he offered. So that argument is a very dead argument. Two, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia organized a very successful thank you tour. In fact, for the first time, he brought in every single of the content and said, let's go together and do the thank you tour. Usually it's Nana Akufo-Addo who go. Akufo did his own. But because he
infighting.
And because he wanted unity, that was what happened. But for some people, some aspirants turn into a campaign tour. And you know, when you are going as political rival and people are turning a thank you tour to a campaign tour, before you arrive at a venue, they would mass supporters with their paraphernalia and campaigning. That cannot actually proceed as such.
On that note, let's pick our last caller. Hi, good morning. You're live. Talk to us. Who's on the line? What's your name? Do we have a last caller, or we should move on from you quickly? Okay, tell us your name and your question. All right. I'm sorry, no more calls. That's all that time will allow for the calls. So this is where we are, Kojo.
Yeah, so, I mean, people like Kennedy Japan and Brian Achampon and all the those people who want to be elected as flag bearers believe that we're at a point where you need a certain kind of charismatic leader to lead your party. That they're at a point where they need someone who can challenge the NDC, and that person is not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The Kennedy Japan group feels that he has what it takes, he's well-resourced, he's charismatic, and the grassroots love him. Aren't you threatened by that? To say that, so you think that having 60 MPs supporting him is enough a basis to say...
I think that the charisma of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a basis for the overwhelming majority of members of parliament supporting him. When they see character, when they see competence, when they see charisma, they know. They can decipher.
How many people actually... I'm sorry to interject. That has come into another question. How many MPs actually visited Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Those who visited Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia yesterday, from my count, are about 60.
60 members
60
of
members of parliament. There were some members who went after we had left. And I can mention him. John Jinapo went there after we had left.
Samuel Abu Jinapo, not John Jinapo.
Abu Jinapo went there before we had. A lot of people went even after because they had other engagement. There were some members of parliament who did not. Gideon Boako was not there. This is someone who is pure in blood, pure in heart, pure in everything for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Right? The fact that he was not there doesn't mean it doesn't, because he was indisposed. Right? So, over 67 members of parliament have come out to say that we are for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. There are some people who are still, gauging to see what the mood of their constituents are going to be like. Okay.
But there are people who say, well, if you take 67 out of 275, there's still quite a large number of constituents.
We are talking of members of parliament.
But what is the strategy to have?
There are also former members of parliament who are also, some of them are even meeting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Is it today or tomorrow?
Okay.
There are people who are former members, former MMDC, who are coming and expressing their support. They have party, and if you'll be surprised, when we hit the road, the caliber of people who are going to be the face of the campaign, you just have no doubt that this is what the party wants, right? So for me, the number is important. It's only when people start counting number, then you give your number, they say, oh, the number is not important. But the truth is that every single person in the NPP now, with the exception of those who still have their reasons not to believe in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leadership, think that he is the best for now. And I think that we shouldn't even be having this discussion.
Okay.
You see, the reason why some of them are even supporting other candidates, they feel that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has so much goodwill that if they come to join Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's queue, they may not have relevance in terms of for their own self, and they may not get appointment when the NPP is in power. Those are genuine concerns. But power is not about what you get. It's about who can serve the good people of Ghana, who can deliver the general good. For what I know, if the economy is good, if teachers are well paid, if nurses are well paid, journalists have better and protected working conditions, private sector is booming, every single person is going to be, irrespective of whether or not you hold a government position. And that should be the concern of everyone, not whether or not you are in the front row or in the back row of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign.
Well, thank you for coming. That's all that time will allow us for this conversation. You've just heard from Dr. Tiah Kabiru Mahama. He's Member of Parliament for Wale Wale. And we were discussing the race to lead the NPP into 2028 elections. But first, their primary is set for 31st January 2026. We also spoke to Dr. Kwesi Amachi Boateng. He's Senior Lecturer, Department of History and Political Studies, although we couldn't get the best from him. But before we pop off, are you looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics show it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. Doing things differently is what the Design and Technology Institute is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication, design innovation, entrepreneurship, and many others. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTech, and CTVET. So you can shine here in Ghana and shine anywhere else in the world. If you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, then check out DTI. You can visit dtiafrica.com/admissions, or you can call this number 0541 693 534 for more information. DTI, all rights reserved, including, they say they are the best when it comes to design and technology training. Samuel Kojo Brace will tell you about Nesta.
Well, are you looking for a home in a prime location? Then Nesta's Homes has got you covered. Our properties in Tema Community 26, just behind Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes, and social amenities. Off-plan prices start at $35,000 US. That's quite affordable there. Contact them today on 0531 014440 or 0531 014447. Visit our website at www.nestes.com.gh.
Well, let's talk about Syntex tanks before we go. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's not the correct tank. That's right. Syntex tank is the correct tank. It is the champion of water tanks. It is strong, durable, built to handle our Ghanaian weather, so whether rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So go outside and check your tank, and if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. You can call this number 0244 335 168 to buy one now or find one of 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Last one before we usher in Noella Karni.
Are you ready to dream, dare, and deliver in the world of IT? Look no further than the Jackson Institute of Technology, GIT, the only NIIT authorized training center in Ghana. At JIT, we provide world-class IT training for individuals and corporate organizations, equipping you with industry-relevant skills in software development, cybersecurity, networking, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and digital marketing, and many more. We offer globally recognized certifications, practical job-ready training, and flexible hybrid learning, which allows you to study online or on-site. Our expert instructors ensure hands-on learning experiences that prepare you for the success in today's digital world. Conveniently located in the Ring Road, on the Ring Road near Circle, in the heart of Accra Central Business District, and in Kumasi at Jackson Educational Complex headquarters, Ayeduase, near KNUST. JIT provides easy access for students and corporate clients. Our state-of-the-art auditorium is also available for corporate events, seminars, and training sessions. Call or WhatsApp as on 0596 996037 or 0596 996038 or 0552 714635 or visit our website at www.git.edu.gh. GIT, your gateway to a thriving IT career.
The AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. Provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. We'll take a break. We'll return with more on the AM show.
Look, I'm sure I am probably the only presenter who is absolutely in love with her montage, right? I love the montage. It has a way of putting me in an exciting mood. So yeah, there you have it. We've got about 10 days, I think, to the end of the month. I am absolutely excited to be, I'm excited and expectant of my salary as well, because the last salary went out like last 2 weeks. So yeah, we want more. And you won't believe what myself and my director and other, crew members have been arguing about, but that's inside information. I'm going to share that with you. You're welcome to E-Corner. A big thank you and a special shout out to our newest gentleman on the block. He's my brother as well, Kujo Brace. And of course, Sweetie Abochi for holding the fort with everything serious. I mean, it does not mean I'm not a serious girl. I'm a very serious girl, okay? But yeah, that's the aside on the morning. And I get to, water everything down and, sprinkle a little tea here and there, so you're good. So that's what we're gonna do right here on E-Corner. I'm Noella Karni. Let's take a quick breather. When we return, you know what we're doing, right? Action. All right, so you're welcome back. It's E-Corner with me, Noella Karni. Before I begin, let me say a quick speedy recovery to our producer, Kingsley. He's not feeling too well, so yeah, I wish him a speedy recovery. So yeah, that aside, let's now talk about the stories I have for you. And we're going to begin with rapper Medical. He is in some sort of trouble. And for those of you who do not know who Medical is, that's him. On your screens, he is a rapper. I love his, his style of rap. You should check out some of his, songs or catalog on social media. I'm sure there are loads you'd find on streaming platforms as well. So yeah, he had a performance at the University of Ghana, specifically at the Ivandi Hostel, and he performed to a teeming crowd. And you know how these musicians, some of them, they perform. They will go on stage, and in a bit to interact with your fans, they will call on, their fans, come on, let's have fun on the stage. Last time I checked, I think Blacko did the same, and his fan, I think he hit him or something, and so his lip got busted. Anyway, this fan that Medical called on stage was a female, and people found how he received this female fan on stage problematic. And that's because, you know what, let me not talk too much. Let's watch the video and maybe you can judge for yourself whether it's problematic or not.
I'm going to interview. Oh boy.
Medical is, I won't say he's my friend, but he's somebody that I really know. So it makes it a bit difficult for me to comment on this because I want to understand the state of mind he was in doing that. It could be that, he didn't mean to inappropriately touch this young lady. It could also be that he intentionally did. Again, I cannot tell what state of mind he was in at that moment, but wrong is wrong and right is right. Regardless of how he was thinking, whether he intentionally did what he did or not, that didn't look good, right? That did not look good. The lady in question hasn't complained about it, but if in the future she decides to complain, there's absolutely no way you're getting off of this video, because it's clear. Your hand is on her bum, and that doesn't look good for a musician like him with his reputation and all of that. So, that's what I have to say about this whole video. But a lot of people have been lambasting him on social media. A lot of social media commentators, industry commentators as well, pundits. I know that, I've forgotten her name, the lady who did PR work for King Promise during the TGMA era. I think Tilly, right? Tilly spoke about it, talked about how bad this looks on him. Also another lady, I think at Peace FM also spoke about it. And so it's not looking really good for him on social media. And so he had to respond. And his response is one that I should also say I'm very disappointed at. But let's hear him out.
The way I invite one of my fans on stage where I want to could dance, and I found out she had a boyfriend, so I had to respect her and let her go. My friend backstage, I wasn't even looking, and then that's how they got my hand go for somewhere. Unintentionally, and a lot of people they read different meanings into what I'm saying. How they press, they get in yash, they're quite a truth. They just we're gonna stop that nonsense because you people get turned about the least thing. And no should I invite somebody can stay in present with us, what we want us. We're gonna stop that nonsense. I don't move like that. You understand? West Ham way and sexual harassment. We guys are Jimmy Semno. I respect everybody equally, male, female, email. Everybody, they respect everybody. I beg you, especially my fans. I don't joke with my fans. So stop trying to spread the wrong narrative. You know what I mean?
Again, medical, you're a G, but yeah, maybe you should have just left it at it wasn't intentional. I did not intentionally touch the bum. Director, y'all are shouting in my ear too much. Okay, so you should have just left it at, I did not intentionally touch, her bum, and just let it go and maybe apologize or something. But to go ahead and say Munjai Jimmy, and I actually had to see some of his response, because apart from this response, he responded to the ladies who had something to say about the video. Some of them were even calling for him to be stripped of ambassadorial deals, he should be arrested and all of that. And he had some unprintable words to say about these ladies, which, in my opinion, makes this whole situation worse. But look, well, I'm going to keep like I say all the time, I'm going to keep my tabs on these stories. I'm really interested in how it ends. He's made his, how do I even say this? He said that he did not intentionally do this. I'm hoping that he extends some sort of apology to the lady in question. Well, we haven't also heard from the lady. She hasn't come out to complain. Probably she likes the whole buzz. We're in a digital era. And so a lot of people like to be in the midst of controversy and whatnot. So let's see how this pans out. As for me, once they brew the tea, I would bring it and share that tea with you, okay? So let's move away from that and now talk about Straw. I don't know if since the release of Tyler Perry's new movie, Straw, I have talked about it or I've said anything or brought any story relating to that new film to you. But yeah, it's Tyler Perry's new film. Speaking of Tyler, he is also mixed up in some scandal that is brewing. Probably next week, I'm going to bring you details on that. He's been accused of sexual harassment by a male actor that, worked for him on, I think, the film Oval or something. So yeah, I'm going to gather all the facts and share that with you next week. But yeah, his latest movie, Straw, is an absolute beautiful film. It's not for everybody. That's what I realized. It's not for everybody. You have to be able to relate with the film to get the message, right? If not, you just treat it as, people are being too dramatic, because it's very emotional and it's a tearjerker too. So yeah, you should check it out if you haven't. It's on Netflix. Shirley Frimpong Manso is one of Ghana's finest filmmakers here in Ghana. I mean, she has produced movies like The Perfect Picture, my absolute favorite, Butumanto, Adam's Apple, and the list goes on and on and on and on. She came by the Hit Studio this week. She has a new play, her first stage play. It's called Honeymoon Hotel. I think it's showing this weekend. And she came by the Hits FM studio to promote this new play with actress Jocelyn Duma. And they had a conversation about the industry. What's happening? A lot of people think that, the industry is becoming dormant. There isn't much, action, isn't much movies that excite us anymore. What's happening? And then she had a lot to say about the fact that she doesn't understand why we make such a big deal out of a movie like Straw that is not even ours. But she has been able to also release some really fine movies, which I agree, and we don't give her that same support. Or globally, her films do not receive such reactions. In her words, watch.
Saw something that was going around. I think Tyler Perry released a film called Straw. Exactly. And there's been so much talk about it on our social media pages and stuff. And I said, I don't remember getting this kind of attention when I have released a film. Do you understand? And so it's not balancing. Why are we talking about Tyler Perry's movie when, we could easily have that same attention come to a Shirley Frimpong Manso movie? Do you understand? We have put films there that critically examine a lot of things. Recently we released a film called Chasing Lullaby on Mother's Day. Right. It's a film that we shot a few years ago, and then we released it on our YouTube page, and you should see the film. It's a beautiful film that talks about mothers, in all forms, and I didn't see the media pick it up and make a whole song and dance about it like they're doing with Tyler Perry movie. He doesn't care about us. We have to care about our own. We have to push our own. Do you get? And that's what Nigeria is doing and doing effectively. They push their own, they promote their own, they support their own.
So that is Shirley Frimpong-Manso. I absolutely love her for her talent, her experience, her work. I don't quite agree with what she had to say, but before I share why I don't agree with her, let's get some reactions. Because, I mean, this had a lot of reactions on social media. A lot of people had things to say about what she had to say. So, Niso Ankara, okay, I missed that. Kweku Boateng says, very true. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's go back to Niso Ankara's comment. Says, really? What kind of entitlement is this, Charlie? If I start now, okay, bye. Kelly Nila Timenta says, the way she's putting it, like some entitlement be like that. Ezekiel Oklete Tete says, lack of promotion. The Danny Black says, can't wait for Honeymoon Hotel. Shirley is among Africa's top 3 directors and producers. Let's move on quickly to the next one. Kweku Boateng says, very true. I don't think there's anything too special about the movie for people to be making a fuss about. I think he's talking about Straw. Also, Papa Kwesi Abaka says, didn't we, and quote, over talk about Adam's Apple naturally? Because a lot of people loved it. Haven't Ghanaians talked about Ghanaian production that they really enjoyed in the past? Debia and why aren't Ghanaians doing this, doing that? Richie Nihan says, Shirley is wrong here. The movie that ran into a form of series was really talked about because of the PR and marketing and because it was really good. Idris Yusuf says, you don't market or promote your movies like the way he does with his movies. So how do you expect people to discuss yours? And I think, yeah, that's all that needs to be said. Yeah, there's a lot more. Mike Yamwa says, I listened to her on the show today and how passionate she was on this subject. How I wish I were in the studio. Ghanaians this, Ghanaians that. Shirley. Kweku Dako says, the PR, marketing and advertising that Tyler Perry puts in his work is not the same as she does. I don't even see influencers on TikTok talk about her because she's probably not there. The movie gained that popularity because it had a lot of influencers hyping it. Ghanaians love to follow trends. So if you're not putting in that much effort to make a trend, they won't ball with it. Another thing is that the movie is on Netflix, and we all know how movies on Netflix gain popularity. So yeah, the rest I'm sure you can read it. Like I said, enough about that. I'm not going to really share my opinions about that. I mean, we also have Achalugo. That movie blew up. It took the likes of colleagues talking about the movie. It also took the likes of influencers like that, person said in their reaction to the video. So yeah, it goes beyond just Ghanaians being patriotic about Ghanaian-made stuff. I think a lot of money, when we approach investors to invest in our movies, apart from just casting and paying the cast and putting the production together, can we also invest in the promotion of the movie? Because that's what's going to get a lot of people talk about it or, create a buzz around it. Let's quickly move away from that and talk about Akiana. Akiana is a musician, a dancehall musician. I think when she came into the scene, she got signed on to the erstwhile Men's Gold Records, right? And she, released a couple of singles here and there. And then I think her contract ended, and so she went out of that contract, and yeah. But anyway, she came by the Hit Studio. She has a new single out, and so she came to promote it. And she talked about her journey, talked about the fact that, when she started her music career, she had a lot of challenges, including sexual harassment, people wanting to help her and wanting sex in return. And so she was asked, if a budding musician is listening to you right now, what would be that advice you give to that musician? And she said, look, you cannot do away with investors wanting to sleep with you. You cannot say you won't sleep with them. So sleep with them, but be selective. Watch.
girl is listening to you out there and wants to do music and maybe is currently experiencing that and does not know what to do, what advice would you give her?
Just stay focused. I mean, you cannot, you see, the thing is, you cannot say you will not do one or two. Just don't do all.
Okay.
I don't know.
But
make sure that is gonna elevate you.
Yeah, or change your life.
Exactly. Don't just do it. Now we say, oh, may I say I'm out, and then you do it, and then after they don't do it, and then on to the next, you do the same thing, they don't do it, on to the next. You end up doing stuff with everybody in the industry, and then you now be a topic for discussion, and it's not good. So you just have to be focused, you know. Don't sometimes look the things that you feel like you can close your eyes and do by yourself, just do it. Don't try to be like, oh, yeah, I mean, yes, so I would have to do something with somebody to get there.
Okay.
Just make sure that whatever you're going to do is going to elevate you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Akiana. As cringe or as cringy as that sounds, it's actually the reality. Those who are in the industry will tell you, and I'm sure in other industries, if they are to come out and tell their stories, they'll tell you. The investors, when a lot of these budding musicians approach them that, boss, I have talent, I can do this, I need you to help me or support my career. Most of the time, the exchange rate is sex for support. That is the truth. And so, yeah, you may be sitting in your house and, oh my God, how can she say that? Oh, that is so terrible of her. Who is she? She has no morals. That's the truth. Okay? Let's move away quickly. Let me wrap up with the newest show that we have on Joy Prime called Prime Time. It's hosted by, I personally think it's Ghana's answer to Jimmy Fallon's Live, I think. Because it gives off that vibe. So yeah, Prime Time is a new show on Joy Prime. It's on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. hosted by the incredible George Quay. And they debuted last Wednesday, I beg your pardon, this Wednesday, forgive me, and had Samini on there. And Samini had a lot to say. There were a lot of headlines from that interaction he had with George Quay. But it's interesting how he said he is very happy with the current government's persecution, should I say persecution or prosecution of, politicians that have been involved in some corrupt money cases. You can talk about the former finance minister, you can talk about Edu Boahem. He says it makes him a proud Ghanaian to see that the president is going after these people. And I say it's interesting because he is an NPP sympathizer, but that's far from the point. Watch.
The new force, if they come out with some policies that you align with, you may...
If the new force comes out with policies that makes me believe that they stand the chance of giving us the best when it comes to governance and leadership in the country, I'll definitely go for that. As I speak to you currently, what we're seeing, I'm a happy Ghanaian, and I like the fact that people are being brought to book and justice is being served, or it seems like justice is going to be served. Things like that I am for. I won't sit here and be, walking on eggshells because I think that maybe a certain favorite of mine might be in trouble because Asem Abba. I believe that if you are put in an office, in a public office, it's your responsibility to serve the Ghana and then keep the public purse at heart. But if you come and you do anything dubious, you should be brought to book.
You should be brought.
The Gen Zs get it. They get it. The Gen Zs, they get it. If you don't get it, say Clark it. Say Perry it. But anyway, so that was Samini with George Quay on Prime Time. It shows every Wednesday on Joy Prime at 9 p.m. Let me say a huge birthday shout out to a special person. She's the mother of my absolute sweetheart, Enyam. She's called Mrs. Aholu Dorothy Akpene. Ma'am, we love you. We love you so much. Myself and Enyam, we love you. Have an incredible day today, and we wish you long life. So that's it. That's how I'm going to wrap up with today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your tea. If you didn't, pardon me. But yeah, next week, same time, same place, I'll be back on your screens with another edition of eCorner. Until then, you know how I say every day, baby, stay fabulous.